Good Monday morning at 6 a.m. from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. Rookie minicamps are getting started this week in the NFL. The Ravens, Chiefs, Eagles, Packers, Cowboys, and Seahawks all got started over the weekend, and most of the rest of the NFL, including the Titans, will get started this Friday, May 9th. With rookie minicamps getting underway, rookie contracts will start to be negotiated and signed. Per multiple sources, the Cowboys and first-round pick Tyler Booker agreed to a 4-year, $22.5 million deal that includes a $13 million signing bonus. Booker, the 12th overall pick in this year's draft, is the first-round pick to sign a contract. Also, the Chiefs and offensive tackle Josh Simmons agreed to a 4-year, fully guaranteed contract worth just over $14.6 million. And Nashville SC and Atlanta United resulted in a 1-1 draw on Saturday afternoon in Atlanta. Defenseman Dan Lovett scored the equalizer to save a point for Nashville in the 66th minute on a Hani Mukhtar corner kick to get the assist. Nashville SC moves to 5-2-4 on the season with 17 points and sits 6th in the Eastern Conference. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you've got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Monday morning, kicking off a brand new week right here on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. RKW, as always, is brewed by Scooters Coffee. Visit a locally owned location near you in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. The crew is all here on this Monday. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, and Will Bowling. We're diving into remaining Titans free agent fits. There are two that I think are slam dunks for the team as they head into rookie minicamp this week. You got voluntary workouts coming up, and it will not be that long before we are talking about mandatory practices over at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park, 615-737-1045. We stream the show live on Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Monday, May the 5th. How are we doing? Good morning.
Hey,
doing
Cinco
good.
de Mayo, man.
Oh,
yes.
reminder,
absolutely.
it's my best friend's birthday. Thank you for reminding
Happy
me that.
birthday to your best
Yes.
friend's birthday, then. Well,
Gotta
no,
write
happy
that
birthday
out.
to your best friend. I don't know what am I talking about. It is a birthday.
Your birthday, yeah, Cinco de Mayo.
Absolutely, man. What is this doggone May freeze we got going on, too?
Wow.
This is
It's
insane.
been rainy.
Yes, it has been. Weekend recap. All right, what up? The Kentucky Derby was amazing, by the way. I'm not sure if y'all got a chance to catch it.
As always, journalism falls again in
Yeah.
2025.
Newsroom's disappointed.
Yeah.
Journalism was fake news.
Yeah,
it was.
Hold up in what? Which one?
That was the
That was the
favorite to win the
favorite.
Kentucky
Oh,
Derby. It was
yeah.
a horse named Journalism.
Journalism
You were just playing along.
went down the drain.
Yes, you're right. Journalism got his face smacked off is what happened to it, man. Golly, that was a good race, by the way. Did y'all see the little small fact that was going around too?
No.
That every single horse in the Kentucky Derby was a descendant of Secretariat.
Are you serious?
Every single horse it was 19, I think, horses in this. Every single horse was a descendant of Secretariat.
So they were all somewhat related.
No, they were.
That's nuts.
All related. The granddad was out here kicking it.
Yeah,
You
he
understand
was.
me? I looked up his stud fees back in the day. He didn't make a whole lot considering the times, whatever it was. I think $4 million, which is like $40 million in
Okay.
today's money or whatever. But those horses that win those big races, they go off and retire and make a whole lot of coin, man. Awesome.
That's
for
insane.
It's always like horse racing's tricky for me because we put all of these horses on a spotlight that they don't even know about. They have no
Yeah.
clue. Yeah, I mean, who is going to explain to sovereignty that he is just a legend at this point?
Well, as PG as I can be, by the time he retires and go to his pasture, he'll understand why he's a legend on his stud fees and stuff.
Fair enough.
Dude, I was reading that those horses probably get like 20 stud fees in like a month. And those are like $250,000 a pop.
You could have told me any number, and I would have been like, yeah,
Me
sure.
too.
Yeah, I know. For
I
real,
know.
it's crazy.
I don't
right?
know any of that like land of horse racing
But
money.
they save it, and then they'll, as we
Okay.
see right now, you become incorporated if you are one
Sure.
of the greats.
So I've always wondered why don't we like put on the pedestal the jockeys more? The jockeys are the one doing it. Like they're the ones like, making the moves and using the strategy and everything. Like it's just like, what if every car in a NASCAR race was just the manufacturer? Or just like, there goes the Impala and another Impala, and here comes Impala on the outside. And there's a Mustang, followed by another Impala. Oh, another Mustang. Like we just never knew who the driver was.
I was told. Go ahead.
I think we might be listening to the same thing because I think 3HL.
Well, my granddaddy raced horses too.
Okay, so tell me, I think it was on 3HL. They had one of the horse racing experts on.
I missed
for betting.
That one. Okay,
yeah, and I think that they said the jockeys aren't actually with them a lot with the horses.
No,
the owners are.
The owners
but
and
the jockeys,
trainers.
Yeah, and the trainers. But the jockeys pretty much just show up and say, "Hey, I'm ready to ride."
It is.
Tell me if I'm wrong.
To your point about why the horses should be considered more than what they are, I guess they shouldn't know. Well, they shouldn't know. Heck, they're just doing what they're bred to do.
Pretty much.
But it's because of their genetic makeup more than anything. Like the secretary was over large heart, as big as he was, and everything else. So you pour more into one. I think the price of it will, and secondly, the genetics of what the horse has inside of it too. So that's why the horse is more important than the jockey. The jockey, like Kayla said, that guy's called up and, hey, do you want to race this horse? And you understand like what your horse's temperament is versus what the jockey is going to allow him to do.
Yeah, it is interesting though.
Being around horses growing up with my granddad, like I do know this. He did kart racing, not on the back road horse racing. He did the kart racing. And when you kart race, like when you have one of those types of horses that are really good, like you allow that horse to go do his thing. Like they come with a little bit of attitude sometimes. They come with the athleticism that you see, and they cost a little bit more. My uncle, my granddad's brother, great uncle, he actually sold one of his really good young kart horses. At this time, this was early mid-2000s for like $150,000, $200,000, which is unheard of.
That's crazy.
For a cart horse. Yeah, for a cart horse. So it was fascinating, man. I enjoy all that type of stuff right there.
It is cool. I'd like to go to a horse race once.
Steeplechase this weekend.
There you go.
That's
Come on
right.
down.
Yeah.
That's right.
They already got it marked off.
And as usual, it's rained the right before. So it's always muddy and muggy. It is a rite of passage.
Weekend, just like the Kentucky Derby.
And every year it rains right before Steeplechase.
You ever gone to that one out there? You have? Is it actually nice?
It depends on what part you go in. Everyone in their 20s who is a Nashville native has gone at some point in center field and done the very belong to the streets level of going to Steeplechase. That's just, there's a drink in your hand. You're probably wearing too warm of clothes than you should have come there with, and you sweat through it, and you regret the fashion choices that you made for the sake of the pictures, and you have a couple beverages, and then you get trapped in the center when you want to leave because it's always sunny, it's always muggy, it's always muddy, and you can't leave when you want to. Then there's the nice way to go, where you have like a seat or you have like a tent that's air conditioned or something like that. Like the 104.5 The Zone way to go, like the VIP way with The Zone, which I've never done because I'm just looking to be a KIP, a kind of important person. And that's the way to really do it because you can choose when you leave and you're not like in the infield. And if you want to just go for a couple hours, I also recommend wearing shorts if you're a guy going to Steeplechase. The pictures are not going to be worth it. There's always going to be someone that looks better than you, so just don't even really try to look like the best, most dressed person there.
That's real.
Best dressed person.
I just don't understand how you get in, Will, or out, because it looked like they were going to shut down Old Hickory Boulevard from the signs that I saw.
Yeah,
we had a friend who lived on Old Hickory, walking distance away. We just parked at their house. And walked over. Yeah. That's where I always had my state cross country meet was Steeplechase growing up. So I'm used to having to find other ways to get into Steeplechase.
Won
2 state championships there.
I would like to go, but it looks like it's more of a hassle to get in. And to your point, like leaving, when I'm ready to go, I'm ready to go. So can you
There's a big parking lot across the street with those
you could Uber
softball fields.
I
do not recommend Uber.
Do not recommend.
Okay.
Because everybody's Ubering.
The fees are crazy, and it's a 2-lane road. And good luck finding that person.
That's the part that gets me. The 2-lane road.
For sure.
But other weekend news too. Went and drove my dream truck this weekend.
Did you?
I did.
What is it?
At Two Rivers Ford.
At Two Rivers Ford, yeah.
Yes, that Ford Raptor R.
Okay.
Ooh, nice.
You got to be careful in that thing.
Why?
It's 720 horsepower.
Oh, dang.
That's a
Okay.
lot of cars.
Speaking
knew
of
it.
horses,
Yeah,
Those are
speaking
the kind of
of
cars
his
we're
own
actively
horsepower.
trying to take away from Georgia football players.
yes, sir.
Yeah.
And I hope they don't find out about
Like
this.
when Ramon's
truck.
like, hey, you got to have a certain age to be able to handle that many horses. You
Yeah.
are that age.
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
that age because I hit the
Supervised
gas
adult.
and I slid. I was like, you know what? Let's just put this thing in slippery mode, okay? There's no need to be speeding right now, man. But that was cool. Got Miles' birthday situation set up, Mother's Day situation set up this past week.
Look at you.
I was trying, man. Miles and Keisha share the same weekend, Mother's Day weekend. And I got to always find ways to separate the two.
oh, that's
and
so her birthday and Mother's
it's
Day
gonna
always lands
fall
together.
on the same weekend.
What's Keisha's birthday?
No, Mother's Day.
Oh, Mother's Day. Excuse
Miles
me.
is the
Miles
11th.
is the 11th.
Yeah. So they
Spinning
share
a lot
that.
of plates there.
Yeah. No, for real.
Right?
Was that a dad joke that I missed?
No, just spinning a lot of
Whoa.
plates.
Because you
I'm
hit me
glad that
early.
I've established my jokes are so good that you always think the one's coming.
Is that a joke?
Sometimes just a
Is that a
sentence.
dad joke?
And by the way, I saw both of y'all this weekend. Heard you, saw Kayla on TV. You almost took
that's
one
right.
to the eye, too, in the foul
Yeah,
ball.
I've been getting good. I've been doing that my whole life where I've risked my life down there.
I was like,
And haven't gotten hit yet, but
Heads on a swivel.
yeah,
you know.
gotta have your head on the swivel. I saw your broadcast team came to you.
Oh, yeah.
And you said you was reaching out and touching. I was like, go ahead and get a bruised hand if you want to.
I've already broke this finger doing
Yeah.
that, catching a football during the
Yeah.
vacation, the cruise. Never
Oh,
got
my
it
gosh.
fixed.
Yeah, I remember you did
Yeah,
have
it's
that.
still screwed up.
I didn't hear the end of your broadcast though. Was they won? Well, I heard you though.
No, I'm just giving you a hard time. 1-1 draw
1-1 draw.
down in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and then a monsoon to drive in on the way back. But that's all right.
God.
Don Davenport
Yes.
is livid at that score right there.
1-1.
The 1-1.
Yes, hate draws.
Yeah, Nashville's really good. They 72% possession in the second half. Nashville, after trailing at halftime, the second road result of the season, and 3-match unbeaten run against Atlanta now, who still has only beaten Nashville once in the last 11 meetings between these two teams. Nashville plays again tomorrow, actually. Very quick turnaround. We will not have it on the zone, but U.S. Open Cup against the Chattanooga Red Wolves
Okay.
Chattanooga Red Wolves.
out of USL
Nice.
League One. 2 divisions below Major League Soccer.
This is like a midweek type of competition.
Midweek
situation.
tournament.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
It's the inspiration to like the NBA Cup kind of thing that happens. The U.S. Open
Okay.
Cup is the longest running soccer competition in the United States.
Okay, for sure.
That's cool.
Yep.
They
Named
must-
after Lamar Hunt, also
So-
the Chiefs guy.
Yeah.
Get out. Didn't know that. Okay.
Lamar
well, I
Hunt,
didn't
U.S.
even
Open
know
Cup.
that. So is this where a bunch of young guys will play in this turn? Okay.
Yep.
All right, gotcha.
They'll still
gotcha.
probably play a mixture of starters and maybe some squad guys, but Nashville's got so many healthy bodies that are good and have not been able to get in the lineup recently. So you guys actually still put out a pretty good lineup for the game tomorrow. So 7 o'clock, Geodis, that's a great chance if you want to take your kids to a soccer game. You will be able to.
Nice.
Tickets available. You'll have plenty of room to sit wherever you want. It'll be a fun one.
And it's nice tomorrow. I checked
ridiculous.
the weather. We've got like 2 days of no rain. So
There you
Do
go.
we really?
enjoy it.
Finally.
615-737-1045. More weekend headlines when we come back. There is a host site that has been announced for the 2027 NFL Draft, according to sources. No, it is not Nashville, but I'll tell you who it is next.
Is your concrete in need of repair? Maybe your sidewalk is shifting, your driveway is cracked and sinking. Mine's got a little bit of cracks in it right now, too. Or your porch steps, maybe they've moved on you. Shifting concrete can create a dangerous situation and just trip hazard around your home. It's also just a big eyesore. Shimon Foster, and whatever is going on with your concrete, call United Structural Systems. Ask them about their polyurethane foam injections. You've heard about USS for a long time. It's the same company that's provided superior foundation repair and waterproofing to Middle Tennessee since 1994. Well, they can fix your sunken or settling concrete. USS uses polyurethane foam injections to lift and repair your sinking concrete in a matter of minutes. Lifted concrete can be walked on immediately or even driven on after 30 minutes. So don't go through that long, expensive process of ripping out and replacing concrete. Reach out to the company I trust. You can go to USSTN.com. That's USSTN.com or call them 615-488-7855. United Structural Systems.
RKW 104.5 The Zone is brewed by Scooters Coffee. Locally owned, location is definitely near you. If you're listening to the sound of our voice here in Middle Tennessee, Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, and Will Bowling. So the NFL draft needs to just come home, right? Yeah. Home, not New York, home, Nashville, because it needs to come home to the place that did it best. Those are Daniel Jeremiah's words. Not even just mine. I'm biased, but I still have the correct opinion. It is not coming back to Nashville, though. The NFL draft will continue to travel, and in 2027, it will head to the District of Columbia.
What?
Washington, D.C.
Oh.
It's the NFL draft in 2027.
Okay.
You know what? This will probably be the longest broadcast ever because traffic will be so bad they won't be able to get the prospects there.
That's so true.
I mean, legitimately.
I've never been to D.C.
D.C., Kayla.
I've heard it's really cool.
It's a really cool city.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
City. But
Compact.
very compact.
Yeah.
The roads are lettered and numbered,
Okay.
and it is hell driving through DC. Though I will say
I
that
have
the
heard
traffic,
that.
the green line, whatever they have there, it's a nightmare at times. So the NFL will make sure it's all right. But yeah, definitely.
Okay.
So Pittsburgh next year,
I like that.
after Green Bay this past year. Detroit still reportedly has the record attendance at 750,000 people in 2024. Of course, the draft started rotating cities in 2015, and now D.C. gets it in 27. So the draft is expected to be held on the National Mall, where the Washington
There it is.
Monument is.
Oh, wow.
Axios with the story first.
That's kind of cool.
That is
That's
pretty
awesome.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sweet. And honestly, Green Bay probably did better than I think people expected. I don't think we knew what to expect from Green Bay because there's nowhere to stay up there, and they crushed it.
Man,
Looked really cool.
I'll be honest, it did. It looked really cool. There, people came out, even if it was outside, inside of the stadium, it looked good. But here's what the NFL does a great job of drumming up the competition of it too. I feel like there was a lot of comparison, like who's going to come to Green Bay. So all of the Green Bay and Wisconsin fans showed up, and again, whether you had to take 3 planes to get to the city plus a car, they show up and show out. I think when you put it in a traditional city, a legacy city like Green Bay, it had no choice but to be good.
Right.
And I think the same thing goes here. I think Nashville, with what it did, though, just put everybody on notice. I don't know if Detroit had as many as what Nashville had at the time. At least the way I saw it, there was no better look than what Nashville did down Broadway.
That's true.
It's the spectacle of like how, like you said, visuals are such a thing, right? Especially when you're watching on television. And what Nashville does the best is like, there's not a lot of places that just have a strip of just bars and restaurants where people are always there. And when you then put that with one of the biggest events in the world in terms of sports and the draft, there wasn't ever a time that it looked dead or looked like it was halfway full. I mean, and it's just that long stretch as the background. It just looks so cool. That's why I think the monument and that narrow stretch, how that is, I think that will look cool because we've always seen it with the president when they make their,
speak.
Their speech and everything, and when all the fans all the Americans are lined up back there. It always looks really cool. I'm kind of envisioning that.
It's going to be a good look for sure. And NFL does a lot of business out of D.C. too. I mean, there's a lot of their New York workers that take the train daily to D.C. to New York.
Yeah.
Or around that area. It's actually pretty unique. It's dope, though. I like that.
That's cool.
That's a great city to have it in.
Yeah.
I wonder when they will start recircling back around. That's the other part.
Well, I was going to say, in 2028, you would have just had the Titans open a brand new stadium.
Okay.
Would be the perfect time to do it. I mean, I understand why maybe they didn't want to bring it back to Nashville as the stadium was being finished for the 2027 season, and maybe there's still, the margin for error that in case construction goes a little bit long, which I don't expect considering how, on schedule they've been the entire time. But 2028 would be a great time to bring it back here to have the new stadium be spotlighted.
That's very true.
Yeah, that's a good
On
point.
those steps, too, or inside the stadium for that matter, man.
That's true. You do something down there. I mean, something in the new kind of district that's going to be around the new building. It'd be great.
So we had this conversation as players one time, just, offensive linemen trying to think we're smarter than everybody at times. But is the
You are sometimes.
Is the NFL at a point to where it's going to get oversaturated with too much information and access? That's something that we had with social media, and it hasn't yet.
I don't think it is.
I really don't think so.
Because it's our thing, like it's the sport that we watch the most here in the United States. Because well, it was Alejandro. It was just like, I'm telling you, it's too much too soon. I was just like, I don't know if, like,
I understand
Americans.
how people in it every day may feel that way. But,
Yeah.
I mean, it is king. The television numbers, the top 100 events broadcasted on national television this year, like 75 of the 100 most watched events will be some kind of NFL event, whether it's the draft or a game.
And you're going so big now that you've got Amazon now bidding. You've got Netflix. I mean, in what world did we think that our streaming platforms where we watched our shows, we would be tuning in the future to those big games?
And get subscriptions for them, too.
Right.
If it's not college football or NFL football, I mean, it's just not, the viewership's not on the same level.
To that point, too, I tried to, like, figure out what am I going to, I had a little dead time. I was trying to figure out what should I watch. I tried to watch that, what is it, UFL?
Yeah.
I couldn't.
It's tough.
I couldn't.
The broadcast presentation's great. I like a lot of the experimental things they're doing to have access to the play calls and access to the coaches mid-game and all those things. And they've got really good broadcasters doing it. Heck, our own Don Davenport has done a couple games. But it is just, it's a lot. It's a lot different.
Unknown almost in a sense. And I hate to say it that way. Like, the best part of that, like, trying to watch their games is looking at the rosters and seeing guys I knew.
Yeah.
Former Titans, former Steelers, the players that, like, I played against. Like, oh, you're still playing? It was a couple of wide receivers I knew that are still in the game that were older guys. It was
Jared Garantano's played a good bit of games.
Okay.
Jared, it was another guy.
Quentin Dormady.
Who's Garantano with?
Couldn't tell you.
Couldn't tell you.
I've not watched a second
I know he's
of any of
there.
these games, but I know that him and Quentin Dormady and Jordan Tamu, who hangs around Nashville, and he's a former Ole Miss quarterback. He's actually one of the better ones.
The roster's super unique. There's a lot of former NFL players that are still in the game.
A lot of former SEC guys that you knew as college football players who never made it.
Yeah, and that, to me, I think is probably one of the cooler parts of it, though, too. There is an outlet for guys to extend their careers. It's just that, look, what are you willing to do? And, look, it may turn into something. I think there's guys, like maybe about 5 max a year that make it to an NFL camp or at least make it to a team.
Yeah, they can get some eyes on them.
Yeah.
If they play
I still think that, and I've had this conversation with you guys before, I still think that bottom of NFL roster guys should choose to go there more.
Sure.
Like A.J. McCarron's done that, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Like has decided to go like, hey, let me actually get some new film of what I can do. That way I'm more than just a practice squad lifer. Like, is there incentive enough for someone like Will Levis to go play UFL football in the offseason? Like, seriously, serious question.
I think
like a backup
That's
level.
a great question.
Not someone who is just a practice squad guy. Like, I'm not talking about the Trevor Siemian tier of quarterbacks, respectfully.
Yeah.
I'm talking about backups who just had their jobs taken from them. Like, does a Will Levis type, Josh Rosen years ago, could he have benefited from something like this? Malik Willis, I still think. Like, is that level of player ever going to make it in a spring off-season football league?
I think for specific positions, and not all, because I think like the offensive lineman there, I'm talking about I'm not really into that.
Yeah.
It's a huge drop-off. I think a defensive lineman in that position, Will, that's been a lifer as far as practice squad goes. I think quarterbacks, I think wide receivers, and potentially DBs.
Yeah.
Because I think the biggest drop-off is probably offensive linemen, linebackers, and, I mean, depending on what quarterback you have, too. But to your point about those backup guys that are fringe, who are clipboard Jesuses, no, we shouldn't use that. Clipboard kings is what I call them.
That's all right. That was Charlie Whitehurst's nickname here.
But I said Jesus is like it was plural. Like, there's only one.
You know what? You're right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, is that cool? All right, we can do that. There's only one. Clipboard kings, okay, when it comes down to it. Yes, I do think there's a world there for them, because here's the other side of it, too. Barring they get, you know what I'm saying, they get hit really hard on the blind side, the opportunity to catch up to the speed, rewire yourself, make plays. And honestly, if you are an NFL caliber quarterback, being able to elevate the wide receivers, that right there, to me, I think is a true testament. The biggest issue you're going to run into is funding with those guys. The money side of it, Will, I think is what keeps a lot of guys chasing the NFL. Like, I love the game, and everybody that plays it, I think, do too. But if you're asking me after, and I said this too because I didn't know if I was going to get a second contract or not. I was just like, man, I was talking to Keisha, like, we can go to the Canadian League if we won't get this deal.
Right.
You know, like, those are the conversations
Right, because you
have.
get money still, but.
Yeah, you have with yourself, and just to continue to play too. But, like, being at the bottom of the roster, you're still making 8 times more than what the UFL is going to pay you.
That's what it is, right?
But to get reps, because that's what we always preach about.
I wonder if there comes a point where the NFL invests in the UFL enough to, A, continue to have experimental rule changes tested at that level in the spring, which is something they've already done with the kickoff. They just haven't overtly paid the money themselves to do it. But B, like, invest in the league to elevate the level and the talent level of your bottom of roster players.
Yeah, I think the only way you're going to be able to do that and get any of these quarterbacks, because here's the other problem. A guy like Will Levis, who is still very young, knows that this NFL league, the underlying theme is we're going to always give a quarterback a chance. We're always going to roll the dice on a guy who was a second round or a first round pick. And we've seen it time and time again. Until that stops, too, why go to a lesser league in terms of pay?
Yeah.
And when you know you're probably going to get another team that's going to roll the dice on you and you're going to make money again. So that probably would be the best bet, to look at it as like a AAA team where you're getting maybe a little more money and you're also given the development part, too.
If the coaches have the quality of it, like, and well, you asked that question, like, what was the NFL doing in those situations? Like, will they pour more into it? I've had these conversations, not directly with people in it, but I think the answer is no, not publicly. Because if that league, Kayla, gets more popular or becomes more of an item, because what the XFL did with the WWF back in the day, like, those guys were names. People were going and buying. He hate me. Like you knew who
Herschel
they were.
Walker was a big deal.
You know what I'm saying? Like, how can the NFL continually build and keep its brand strong if there's another league taken away from it? I think it's the biggest issue. Now, the R&D part of it, research and development of rules, coaches, I think there could be an avenue where they could pour into it.
No, I agree. Simply asking the question, because I think short term, there's no reason for them to spend money on something that's not really going to affect them one way or another.
To your point about the play calling, the production, I do like it.
It's cool.
I do
it's
like
really cool.
it.
I mean, coaches are obviously too paranoid and the stakes are too high in the NFL or in legit college football to do it, but it's interesting to watch. It at least allows you to hover a little bit for 10 minutes on the channel before you switch to something else.
Right.
Yeah. Somebody brought in our chat, said could be a good look for Mason Kinsey.
Yeah, that's the kind of player that could benefit from spring football.
Or coming off this ACL, Colton Dowell. If Colton Dowell doesn't play this year,
for sure.
The next spring, hey, bro, we got your spot in the Birmingham.
Right. Well, Amani Marsh, who played a couple of years, he wore the neck, what's it called?
Neck roll?
Neck roll.
Yeah.
He's playing for Houston right now. He is balling out right now. And he didn't have a home for about a year.
Yeah.
So it is possible to go at least and
get those reps and get your footing back underneath you. I do think for rehab guys, there's something to be had there. I do think with the idea that the NFL can expand upon, like, the way they put cameras on the field, the different views with the referees. I like what they do in the production. I just know the NFL has just got billions to do that. Sure. So eventually they'll get to it or just say, hey, you know what? Our product is what it is.
Exactly.
So Abdul Carter's search for a jersey number continues, and maybe the third time will be the charm. So he wanted 56 from Lawrence Taylor, asked him, and Lawrence Taylor said no. Well, then he asked Phil Simms, because after 56 was not made available, Simms entered the picture on FanDuel TV when he said he would be open to unretiring his number 11 so that Carter or fellow first-round pick Jackson Dart could wear it. He said, I told some of my friends and people around me I'd let him have it in a second. Can you just help it a little or make it better? Well, then Abdul Carter saw that on social media and said it would be an honor. He'd be like Micah Parsons, number 11, Penn State edge rusher, all these things. And then Simms told longtime New York Daily News writer Gary Myers this past Friday that he was outvoted by his family and that his number 11 will remain retired by the Giants. So Abdul Carter is still searching for a jersey number in New York.
Dang.
Maybe if he didn't grow up an Eagles fan, they would allow him to wear it.
That is very true, Will. Dude, that is
Man.
Abdul Carter's making a lot of noise. He's either going to be the most popular rookie we've ever had or one of the biggest busts, because you can't kick up this much dust, man, and just be a dud. His attitude is perfect for what the Giants need. I will say that too. But here's the other part of it. This is if, and I'm going to go there real quick and I'm going to get off this. If Shador had did what he was supposed to do in the pre-draft, the Giants would have been perfect for him.
Yep.
because
He's already selling all jerseys right now.
I know. And all of these eyes that Abdul Carter has going on right now with just picking the jersey, the conversation is national at this point, man. It's like, dude, no, absolutely not. But the Giants, they love it. What's the best thing that they've had as of late? Saquon leaving?
Saquon.
I mean, they beat Minnesota in the playoff game a couple years ago when Daniel Jones had his one good season that allowed him to get paid in a way that he probably shouldn't have.
There's that. But Abdul, like, make your own number at this point, man. Like,
Yeah, what
become
would
a
you
legend.
wear if you're
Me, if I was him?
outside
Whatever they
linebacker?
gave me. Kayla.
And that's the thing. I'm kind of like,
Whatever
I
they
get
gave
it,
me.
but I'm at this point, maybe just take what you get.
Like, this is where also, and I'm not sure if he's a product of this era, but this is where NIL and recruiting plays like the biggest part. What is one of the biggest things recruits want whenever they come on campus?
My number.
My number. My
Yep.
number and the cast. Like, bro, go play football, man. Like, one of the greatest players ever to me wore 43, Troy Polamalu.
Yep.
What the heck is a 43? Nobody I've ever
Troy
known
Polamalu.
in football. I know
Which
now.
is the point, right?
Which is the point.
100%.
Nobody I've ever known in life has said, Coach, I want 43. No.
So the
Ever.
Giants have 14 retired numbers. So he cannot pick 1, 4, 7, 10, 11, 14, 16, 32, 40,
a lot.
42, 50, 56, or 92.
That's a lot.
Pick 6 at this point. Or 5. No,
Three,
they
number
already
3?
got 5. Thibodeau got 5. Thibodeau got 5, I think, already, doesn't he?
And Ray Flaherty's family allowed Malik Neighbors to wear number 1 last year.
Oh, that's right.
Should it be up to players themselves
Should it be up to
on a number being unretired? There's a lot of discourse about this between the Cam Ward pick of number 1, and there's a lot of people out there on the internet that'll say things like, well, it shouldn't be up to Warren Moon. It should be up to the Titans. They retired that number for a reason.
No.
It shouldn't be
That
up to
player.
Lawrence Taylor. It should be up to the Giants. They retired 56 for a reason.
I think the player
I'm
needs
with
to make
Kayla
the
on that one. The
decision.
player.
100%.
Yeah, 100% on the
Just,
player.
I was making sure y'all are on the same
Yeah.
page with that because there are a lot of people that are adamant that it shouldn't be up to the player.
I saw, or to your point about that, I saw Keith Bullock reply back to somebody who has his number this year. 5'3" went to somebody.
Olufemi Oladeja.
Yes,
That's
he,
a
53.
rookie.
he has his number. And a fan tweeted at Bully and was like, hey, Bully, they gave your number away. And Bully's like,
They did the year after I left.
Right. He's like, okay.
Bully,
Well, he
like,
became a New York Giant.
Right.
and he has a little bit of a choice words for what's his name too,
Jeff
man,
Fisher.
Jeff Fisher.
Jeff Fisher.
Also because of
He
that.
said it's all good. He's like, I moved on, but he kind of knew where he stood maybe a little bit.
Yeah, he did.
I'll find the exact tweet, but yeah.
I will say, after I retired, I did look and see who had my number. They gave it to a defensive lineman. I was actually,
did they?
to be honest with you, I don't know if it was by accident or what, but I was actually excited about that because I was like, immediately they didn't give it to an offensive lineman to
Nice.
erase away.
I like that.
Which is, again, we're weird.
Keith
No, I
said
get it.
on Twitter when I have, he said, I see where you're going. I appreciate the love. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, Jeff Fisher made it a point to give my stuff away immediately, like to the draft class that came in after I left. They can forever have it. Hashtag all good though for real. And then he said, no beef at all. It was what it was.
I love it.
It's
He's not a
strong.
guy who's
Yeah.
easily offended.
It just a little bit. I know. I know that feeling. It's just a little bit because I still watch the guys that were 78 at UT. I do, and not that it was needed to be retired, but I'm like, are you holding that number down? And there's been numerous
I
73s
get that.
before then, but it's a finicky thing. But Abdul Carter, man, just make another number famous. That's what I would say. to
At
him.
this point, I think it's almost telling him do it that way.
yeah, do it
'cause
that way.
It's not in the cards for him right now to have a retired
Go
number.
get 55. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that number. I actually like that number.
I
For a
just-
linebacker.
615-737-1045. Well, speaking of jerseys, Warren Moon dropped a little nugget last weekend after we went off air at the Kentucky Derby with Kay Adams about the Titans getting new uniforms. We'll tell you what he had to say, and we'll open it up for what you want in the new uniforms. What do you not want in the new Titans uniforms? We'll talk about that next.
It's Ramon and Kayla here with a big deal from Window Nation. Now, save big during Window Nation's semi-annual sale. How big, Kayla? is 6% off and a free exterior door when you get a whole house of windows. Plus, 0 down, 0 interest, and no payments for 2 full years, Kaylan.
That is right. It is a great deal, Ramon Foster. So good that, guess what? This time of year, if you have not checked your windows, you might as well do it and make sure that you don't need new ones, because it's been raining a lot lately, and if you're seeing some leakage, boom, you need new windows, and you can take advantage of, like Ramon said, their semi-annual sale. They've got over 45,000 five-star reviews and lots to choose from, 1,500 colors and styles to choose from to fit your house perfectly. So all you got to do is go online for a free consultation today and estimate. It's 866-90Nation or go online to windownation.com.
It's Ramon Foster for All American Pest Control. Good folks, it's that time of the year when bugs become buggier, and it's that time of the year where I'm also happy, and I mean that, to have All American Pest Control, man. They take great care of me and my family and have for years now. It's because they do great business, man. Everybody in my house, my wife, man, you know her, I speak about her all the time. She wants every single pest gone. So we are set up on All American's Complete Care Max program for pest control, mosquitoes, termites, and the yard. Yes, I do mean the yard. So you want to be able to go out there and light a fire or cook out without getting beat up by mosquitoes, man. But I love it. If a pest gets inside too, all I got to do is call. They send a pest expert back out to treat the inside for no extra charge. It is fantastic. Again, reach out to the company I trust, man, All American Pest Control. You can visit their website at yuckbugs.com. That's yuckbugs.com.
RKW brewed by Scooters Coffee at 104.5 The Zone. Visit a locally owned location near you in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. 615-737-1045. So Warren Moon is letting cats out of bags left and right. And a couple of weeks after talking with the media about how, hey, I don't think the Oilers jerseys are going to be worn again anytime soon. A little bit more reason why I'm all right with number 1 being unretired, right? Because the Titans are getting new jerseys. And everyone's like, oh, well, really? That's interesting. Well, then Kay Adams followed up on the Up and Adams show on FanDuel Television and said, the Titans have new uniforms coming, a whole new set. And I've seen glimpses of them. He says they look pretty good. They fit with the times, but they're also a little futuristic. Okay. They will advance with the times. We'll put it that way. What do you want in new Titans jerseys, guys? 615-737-1045. What do you want or not want? Because clearly you're getting a bunch of new ones.
I don't want the font that they have currently.
You're not very fond of it?
I'm not very fond of it. I think it's hard on the eyes, and this is not just me because I'm getting old and I can't see very well. But for real.
Hey, yeah, it is.
I'm more of an up close, but I will tell you, when I'm up in the press box and I hear it from a lot of people, like, the numbers, when you're looking down, it is a little tough sometimes with that font in particular, but I just don't like the look of it either. I just think it comes across a little cheesy. Yeah. So I just want the font to be a little more basic, if you know what I mean.
Not with the edginess to it, like it's fancy. A sword end or whatever.
Correct.
Okay.
So that's my one wish. That's my one wish.
That is my number one hope as well, because the Lions just went through this. Because Detroit had those kind of italicized numbers, and then now Detroit's new jerseys, they look like these big block letters that look like they're from the 70s or 80s.
Yeah. Correct.
We loved our old block letters a whole lot more. When we were I think in the 1970s jerseys with the block letters, those to me looked like football.
Well, I'm not trying to look like bumblebees like you guys do up in Pittsburgh.
I'm like, that's once a year. But like the block numbers, though, I'm with you on that. I do. But can the Titans pull it off considering the emphasis of the sword, though? That's the only question I have when it comes down to it.
I think
because that seems to always be the thing is you're going to have the sword edges.
Right. It's like you don't have to necessarily, though, incorporate that in the jerseys. You get what I'm saying? Like, you can do the two-tone blue.
So,
and I get what you're saying. Like the whole, what is it, the genre of
medieval,
whatever.
Yeah.
The Titan. But I don't think
like
you
Roman?
have to do that.
Roman times. Yeah, there we go.
But that doesn't need to be on the jerseys.
Here's the thing. If they incorporate a little bit of the Oilers into it, the Oilers, I feel like their jerseys have big numbers in them also. If you go and look at the Lovely Blues, yes, they absolutely do.
Well, to that point then, are you okay making red the secondary color? Just go back to more Oilers colors and have navy be the third one? Because if they're not wearing the Oilers jerseys anymore, it makes me think that they are going to incorporate more Oilers branding into primary Titans branding.
Would
as
it be
they move
the
into
accent?
A new stadium.
You mean?
That's what I'm asking. Would you rather it be an accent? Would you rather it just be the second color?
I actually think I like the red in it a little bit more. Now, here's what I do know.
Not the full jersey, though, right?
No.
Like
just the accent.
No,
See, I'm an outsider. I'm an outsider saying this. Will you're a traditionalist saying this?
I felt like I was going to a Christmas party.
I would absolutely love to see it out there.
The red jerseys were never worn, but you still that is how you know someone is an OG Titans fan. If they have got a red Titans jersey walking around Nissan Stadium.
Sure.
I personally would like to see an alternate game with the Titans wearing all red. That would do me. I'm talking about that would be amazing. But San Francisco's done it. It looks
that's their main color.
I know. I like it, though. I'm gonna be quite honest with you, Will.
Just give me the accents in red.
So bring back the color rush and make it all red.
Oh, color rush. We can leave color rush in the past. I'm good. I'm okay with it with Code Blue. That's what I grew up on. Yeah. I loved the Code Blue game so much. Where they go all Titans blue. I would like to see that incorporated more, but I don't know. I still think you stay with the two-tone blue. I don't know if you dive all the way into the red, but we'll see. I'm really interested to see how they kind of make it more futuristic, like Warren Moon said, but also stick with the times a little bit. I'm very interested to see how they do that.
I never paid attention to how thin the numbers, the lettering is. You guys are right on that one. Like,
And it was a big thing that Nike did when Nike took over in 2014, I want to say, when Nike took over from Reebok as the jersey provider for the Titans and for the whole NFL. And they did do a lot of bold things that you would normally see in college.
Yeah.
And like there were a lot of number fonts that were different. Like Seattle got very different jerseys. That's when they came out with like the wolf gray for Seattle, Detroit. Like the Titans are also not the only ones that would now be getting a refresh because Cleveland has had theirs refreshed since the original Nike jerseys kind of changed. Detroit has as well. Denver has totally new uniforms after theirs kind of got changed. Jacksonville's changed twice after they did like the two-tone helmets, and then now they've gone back to more like the 90s look.
They're still failing.
So I'm interested to see exactly how they make it work. I like the Jacksonville look. I think they've got a good look now.
If you could go back
I don't
real
know
quick.
why I don't like it.
If you could go back and look at the old Vince Young era jersey, did you like that one? Because I didn't necessarily love that one. Well, I'll say this. At the time, it was cool. And looking back at what's happened since then, I don't overly love them. Like the Lindell White versions of them, I felt like they were a little bit decent, better. It was one of the jerseys I saw,
So you like more the navy blue on light blue versus the Titan blue on navy blue?
I like the navy.
Okay.
I do. But here's what
Navy's a staple.
and I think they'll be able to do it too. You know why? Because they're going indoors. They ain't got to worry about the heat beating you down anymore too.
Yeah.
So I wonder, is that part of the play too? Or we don't have to be outside anymore.
I think their public switch to the Titan blue for this upcoming season implies that they prefer that Amy prefers the Titan blue because that is the exact same color as old Oiler blue.
I think you could actually do the red accent with the navy when you wear the navy. I think that actually could look good, whatever you might incorporate the red in, whether it's the helmet a little or I think you could probably do that with that. And then you could do the light blue, either all light blue or you could do, like you said, the light blue pants with the white top.
I just think they're going away from navy.
I think they're going away from navy.
I don't want them to go away from navy.
And they're not going to do powder blue either.
Well,
Titan blue.
It is that blue. Yeah, that's
it's the same exact color as the Oiler blue from back in the day.
That's a unique color. Don't get because can you have too much of that?
Yes.
Of the Titan blue, like the powder blue.
It's not my favorite.
I like it.
You
but
like
it's
it?
Also, that font.
Basically, just go look at what North Carolina does and just copy them. I mean, and they're not actually going to do that, but like UNC uses those combinations so well. What I want is shadow numbers. I think like a good shadow number outline, like the San Francisco red with like the black shadow beyond the red. North Carolina has some of those that have like a navy blue accent on the numbers. Yeah. That's my wish. Have it look little bit traditional. Because now, look, like let's face it, like fashion and all these things in any walk of life, it's all cyclical. And now, like, it's cool to look like you did in the 90s again because the 90s, get this, were 30 years ago, like 1995 and all these things. So, I don't know. We'll see. I think you're going to kind of, like, go into the future by going into the past a little bit.
I'm looking at this Randy Moss version. It was nice.
The Randy Moss, yeah.
Randy Moss Titans?
Yeah. It was nice.
Titan blue on navy blue with the white helmets.
It was.
And the double stripe down the center. So I grew up. I was raised that way.
Block numbers, too.
615-737-1045. So the Iamaliava family could have a major impact on college sports. And a story that has nothing to do with Nico, something to follow in college athletics right now that could have a major ripple effect. We'll talk about that next.
We love being part of the moments that matter, which is why we're announcing employee pricing for everyone. You pay what we pay. Employee pricing at Two Rivers Ford. Locally owned, American made.
AutoArt are different. And they are different for a few simple reasons. They've been doing Nashville business for 61 years. They are Nashville natives. They only sell clean title cars under $12,000. So if you're new to town and you need a place to trust, they've got you. Maybe you need that first car for the 16-year-old in your family. They could do that as well. 615-242-1279 is how you reach out to them with just one location on Nolensville Road, close to Thompson Lane. Nolensville Road AutoMart prides themselves on how quickly they can get you through this process. They will get you in and out in an hour or less. And the best part, they're the oldest buy here, pay here in Nashville. And they work with your own financing if you have it as well. Flexibility, transparency, and honesty. That's why I recommend Nolensville Road AutoMart. Give them a call, 615-242-1279.
Good morning, 7 a.m. from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. Rookie minicamps are getting started this week in the NFL. The Ravens, Chiefs, Eagles, Packers, Cowboys, and Seahawks all got started over the weekend. Most of the rest of the NFL, including the Titans, will get started this Friday, May 9th. Nashville SC and Atlanta United resulted in a 1-1 draw on Saturday afternoon in Atlanta. Defenseman Dan Lovett scored the equalizer and saved a point for Nashville in the 66th minute on a Hani Mukhtar corner kick, who gets the assist. Nashville SC moves to 5-2-4 in the season with 17 points, and they're sitting 6th in the Eastern Conference. The NHL playoffs are off to a thrilling start with the first round of the playoffs now in the rear view. Lots of drama last night in Game 7 between the St. Louis Blues and the Winnipeg Jets. With 1.6 seconds left in the game, the Jets tied it up at 3 and then go on to win on an Adam Lowry tip shot 16 minutes into double overtime. The Jets now host the Dallas Stars in round 2, who beat the Colorado Avalanche in 7 games. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing need, you have to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans involves this. It's 104.5 The Zone.
Brewed up by Scooter's Coffee for a fresh hour of RKW. Visit a locally owned location near you in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Scooter's Coffee, amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. Full crew in studio, Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson. I'm Will Bowling. So I know many of you are tired of hearing about Nico Iamaleava. So let's talk about Madden Iamaleava and a case in college athletics that may have major ripple effects. Andy Staples of On3 writing this weekend about how players now have liquidated damage clauses in their deals with collectives. This is a thing I think that has quietly started to happen behind closed doors, that contracts that families and players have with universities are starting to look more like adult contracts. To work in the real world, you leave your job early, coaches leave their job early, you have to pay the school. So when players leave, their deals may require them to pay the school or collective that they left behind. In fact, some already have. Several basketball players, Andy writes, who moved in this portal cycle have been required to pay back collectives attached to their old schools. Well, Arkansas Edge, with name, image, and likeness, is seeking $200,000 from Madden Iamaleava and his camp, which is half of the remaining amount of a deal originally worth about $500K that is yet to be paid to him. Guys, this is a landmark case because if Arkansas wins, I think the big part of this is they are asking for more back than what this kid's already been paid.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So the Iamaleava family would end up in the red with Arkansas if Arkansas gets what they want in this. Ramon, I know you've talked about this for a while, that college athletics changes for the better the second buyout things like this become more of a reality.
It does, Will, because here's what you do. You have guys settle into where they want to be or actually make those real business decisions that where money is involved, where the payback is there, Will. Again, I think the biggest issue that a lot of people are having is this. Where's the commitment at? And I know we've all been in that position like, yeah, the players get what they want. Yeah, pay that young man, all that type of thing. Get your money and all that type of stuff. But the structure of what college is supposed to be is the growth and the development of guys, young men turning into men, chasing their dreams, right? And if you are in a position to where you can get more, play better. Right? Mm-hmm. Play better. That's the part of it for me. So for the families and agents and players that want to live this life, there are repercussions like this in the NFL. You're trying to have an NFL model in college, and there is no structure in place to enforce these type of laws. So it does, to me, boil down to the contracts. Like, you can't just up and leave. We can't up and leave this job and go to another station across the way.
There's
not that simple.
Non-compete stuff.
Most of the times you can't, right? ESPN have those things. Every industry has it except college sports currently. Mm-hmm. And if you want to stabilize it, where do you get most people at? Either somebody close to them, right, if we're going to play that game, or money.
Yeah.
And that's where it becomes super problematic for folks that honestly take the system and abuse the system. And I think that's the biggest issue for me. It's not the fact that the system is in place to allow you to do this. It's the abuse of it. So what happens? You know what? We had a valuation of you of $350,000 in the first year. We gave you $200,000. We want that extra $150,000 behind that. And I think you start more than anything, have them start thinking a little bit better about what they're trying to do. Like I said, for your in-seat starter to leave in the spring, that messes up everything at that university. And I know a lot of people don't care about that, but what about his teammates in those situations? Screw the coaches, right? What about the teammates as you said, man, I'm down for y'all. Y'all are my brothers. We love you. Boo Carter last week speaking about the other Iamaliava. We were shocked. We didn't know.
Yeah.
That sucks as a team.
Yeah, I mean, and that's where all of this starts to play. Like, unfortunately, it took a huge situation like this and the trickle down of that situation to start this conversation. And I think to start saying, hey, look, we're not going to put up with this anymore. We've got to start laying down some structure. And that includes structure of these type of collectives, right? The structure of NILs, like, okay, you're gonna bring you here for $350,000, but until you take a snap for us, like, we're going to give you this much. And those things need to be laid out. And those players who are coming here, they have to understand, like, you're not just going to get all that money and just guaranteed. Like, there has to be structure to the way that they're doing all of this.
I think there's some structure, but there's no limits. Because if I don't want to pay a player until he's taking a snap and someone else does, well, that doesn't help me.
And that's why everyone needs to be on the same page, right?
So what's going to end up happening is this: if they continue to do this, if Congress steps in and sets guidelines to what guys can and can't get, basically a salary cap, then it's going to screw everybody over.
Well, and the way Congress can step in is give the NCAA antitrust exemption that allows them freedom from operating within different courtrooms every single time somebody has a rule they don't like that they want to challenge. Like, if the NCAA has the ability to make rules with an antitrust exemption, that they can enforce a ton of stuff, again, the way they used to, which honestly I think is the best way out of all of this.
Yeah.
More so than making all these guys employees, because that opens a whole other can of worms that is just a pathway I don't think you want to go down. And it also creates the elimination of, like, every Olympic sport at that point is just on the chopping block for 90% of athletic departments around the country.
But not even just that. You bring into the employees conversation, and we got to talk about the professors on campus.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, at that point, then, like, the football players have got to make the same as any other athletes.
Right.
And then you've got different hiring practices that come into play. I mean, like, you've got to interview a certain amount of candidates every time you hire anything at a public university. Like, there are different guidelines that that's a Pandora's box I don't think that college athletics wants to open or needs to open.
And then just from that side of it too, like, there are going to be some professors, in my opinion, it's because they did it to us when we were in school. Well, you guys get this. Like, there was droppings of, like, that conversation happening in classrooms and stuff. But what about the research department, right, of the cancer at Michigan, at Tennessee, the forensic? Like, they're probably going to say, well, hey, I want more too. It just really, I think.
Yeah, I think it gets sticky.
It gets very sticky in that. Or, as I was about to say earlier, like, they're going to lower the floor so much that guys are going to hate the new system too.
Commenter on YouTube says, Tennessee caused the structure to crash, then caused the ensuing chaos to straighten up.
No,
you agree with that?
I disagree with that. The NCAA caused this. We, again, whether you believe me or not, we were asking for this decades ago. And I say decades, damn, I sound old. But decades ago at this point, like, give us something. The NCAA chose not to give us anything. And because of that, yes, you sue for that. And then after you sue for it, the NCAA, instead of jumping in and say, hey, let's build this. You guys were right. We were wrong. There's the head of the SEC. He's getting $2.5 million a year for what? Facilitation of a league, right? But then, when they chose not to incorporate themselves back into this structure other than March Madness, now you have a free-for-all for everybody. So you can say Tennessee started it, but the NCAA also didn't come back to the table and say, hey, how can we make this better for everybody? It's almost like you want to have kids, but you don't want to raise them. What is the SC? What is the NCAA then? Like, are we just popping out babies and hey, y'all just go do your thing?
Pretty
I hate
much.
to use it like that, but it's just like they're neglectful parents at this point. So yes, Tennessee created chaos, but at that point, where's the NCAA in this conversation?
Yeah, they haven't been in the conversation for the last 5+ years, to tell you the truth. And honestly, it took a university to have the kahunas to actually say, hey, we're not bringing back. I could have said the word, but it's still early.
Cojones?
Yeah.
Big cojones.
Cojones. But it took a university like Tennessee, and I believe if they didn't do it, eventually it would have been another school that would have. But Tennessee was like, enough with this. It's a risk for us, not to bring back our starting quarterback and pay him more money, but we're not doing it. They put the foot down. And eventually somebody had to put the foot down, because now you are going to start to see a little more of the trickle effect. Unfortunately, guys, the NCAA is still nowhere to be found in this whole thing. It's the SEC schools, some of the Big Ten schools, right, that are having to make decisions.
They don't have authority.
Right.
Until they get antitrust exemption, if that happens, that they don't have the authority to enforce any of their rules.
No, they do not. I was listening to, I was reading a few artists trying to find I was reading a few artists this weekend, and they were talking about this in particular, about how the amount of teams the SEC is debating on playing 9 or 8. How advantageous is that for the SEC or the Big Ten, whoever? And they said at some point, Greg Sankey and the commissioner of the Big Ten are going to finally get together and say, yo, know what? We got this.
It's why it's in the G5's best interest to go ahead and just have a seat at the table, even if it's a smaller seat at the table, with this proposed automatic bid way forward at the college football playoff. Because right now, being offered one automatic spot is better than the 0 that you might get pretty soon. And automatic bids are probably the best way to move forward, which I hate. But now that we've opened Pandora's box of the 12-team playoff, like giving the SEC and Big Ten 3 or 4 each, allowing them to go to 9 games and allowing, good non-conference games to be scheduled on campuses again, might be for the best. So it's crazy to me, but that's the world we live in now.
Kayla, from your perspective, I ask this because you're a Pac-12 girl. If it's Big Ten and SEC pretty much getting 8 spots, where does that leave you in just the thoughts real quick?
It's unfortunate, but this is, the competition is on a different level.
Is it fair, you think? To say y'all get 8?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, 8, but in a way, it's like that's where the best teams are right now.
Okay.
And so that's the best matchups. We saw it this last year. Like, you're kind of getting the best part of it. And then I'm okay with like a Boise State getting a spot. Like, I'm okay with having a couple that are at large. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but I have to accept that too as a person who's
it just sucks. I can even say that. I think it sucks. Like, I get it.
Yeah, it totally does.
It sucks though. Yeah.
And that's the Pac-12's fault. I'm sorry. I'm going back to that too. So
didn't step in when they needed them to.
Exactly.
It's all about TV money. 615-737-1045, the number. Are you interested in these following free agent fits for the Titans? I have got 2 that I think are slam dunks, including one name on defense that we have not talked about at all, who not only fits the profile of what the Titans need, is also someone who has been coached by your inside linebackers coach.
Ooh.
And I've got that for you coming up next. Hey, it's Will Bowling for my friends at Lee Company. When the heat rises outside, your home's air conditioning shouldn't let you down. The Lee Company team is here to help keep you cool and keep your system running at its best with award-winning AC services. Whether you need a quick repair, seasonal maintenance, or want to upgrade to a new unit, Lee Company gets the job done right. Available 24/7. Schedule your visit today at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com. You can call them at 615-567-1000. Lee Company, hey, the best time to make sure that they are at your home to take care of that AC unit is when you got weather like we've got right now here in Middle Tennessee, when it's not as hot, and you can make sure that you've got preventative maintenance. Make sure maybe that unit you've been meaning to replace, Lee Company, they're the folks that I would trust to take care of all of that. Over 80 years of experience. They've been trusted since 1944. Give them a call, 615-567-1000, or check them out online at leecompany.com. That's Lee Company, all you need. RKW on 104.5 The Zone is brewed by Scooters Coffee. Visit a locally owned location near you in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. That is Scooters Coffee. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, and Will Bowling diving into remaining Titans free agent fits. Time to go shopping a little bit, guys. Those clearance racks, sometimes that orange sticker on top of the yellow sticker that was already put on top of a purple sticker. You can still find some deals. Yeah. I mean, you can get 2 golf shirts for $9.97 each.
It's true.
In the remaining free agent market. We'll get to that coming up in just a moment. But first, Paul and Franklin wanted to weigh in on the NIL conversation. Hey, Paul.
Hey, good morning. How y'all doing?
Good morning.
Well, I haven't called in a while because it ain't been football season, but football season's on their way back. Thank God.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Anyway, I'd like to say that I ain't called in about the Nico situation. This is my call about it. Nico stabbed us in the back. I mean, I'm just going to tell it like it is. He stabbed us in the back. I know it's over with, but you know what? Will, Big Ragu, Caleb, we went to war for him. We went to war for Nico. We busted out the state attorney general and state senators come to war for Nico, and he done us that way. Now, I wish him well out there in UCLA, but I'm disappointed in him, and that leads me into the other thing. What you said, Big Ragu, about the players in the locker room, that hurt us. That's going to hurt us in the win-loss column this year. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, we had aspirations of taking the next step, and the next step ain't much because we was in the playoffs this year. We was looking for the next step with Nico, and now we're going to suffer for that. I hope the young quarterback coming in is going to do good. Mark Langer, I think they're going to do good, but they're inexperienced, and it's going to hurt us in the win-loss column. And I hate that for our football team, but that's something we're going to deal with. And that leads me into the NIL. Look, Will, I'm for the NIL. I believe these kids need to make money. These universities like Tennessee makes a fortune on football. Mm-hmm. So I have no problem with that. But they've got to be some rules and regulations put in because this will keep happening, and you can't never build no continuity. That's the word I'm looking for, continuity.
Yeah.
You can't build any continuity on your football team moving forward because you don't know what you're going to have. And that's my comment. Hey, preseason Titans football is about 14 weeks away, baby. So week back. Hey, God bless y'all. Go Vols and tighten up.
There
you go, Paul.
Nice,
Appreciate
Paul.
the call. I mean, I do agree there need to be rules. I mean, listen, the rules are going to be broken. They're being broken now. But give someone the authority to enforce them. That I think is the bigger issue, that you give the antitrust exemption to the NCAA. You allow them to do their jobs, which is to create rules and then enforce them when they're broken. So
exactly.
Paul brings up a great point, the win-loss side of it. Like, it's down that the dust has settled a little bit. It's going to be fascinating to see what the rally is like in the fall in Knoxville, for sure. He's right about that.
So the Titans have needs as they head into rookie minicamp this week. Still months away from training camp, of course, in about 2.5 months. And rosters are not set yet, guys. I'll quote myself. It's March, whatever it was back then. Then it was April, and I'd calm everyone down. Now, what's the plan? Why is there no plan? No, it's April, guys. They've got time to let the plan play out. Well, now it's May 5th, and there are still some free agent needs that the Titans could fill. Do you want me to give you the inside linebacker that I want first and foremost?
Yes, because I know who it is.
It is Neville Hewitt.
Oh, never mind.
It is not Trey.
Okay.
It is not Hendricks.
Eric Hendricks.
I didn't see
Eric
him either.
Hendricks.
He just got signed, too.
Neville Hewitt. Who?
I thought Hendricks
Eric
did.
Hendricks just got signed?
I don't believe so.
You sure?
I don't think Eric Hendricks is going to fit the mold of what the Titans want at inside linebacker. I'll start with that.
Okay.
Durability, not something that is a strength of Eric Kendricks at this point in his career. 33 years old. Kendricks spent last year with Dallas. He played for $3 million last season. What we're talking about, the budget of players that are going to get vet minimum and then incentives if they're available and if they play. And many of these players will probably wait until a training camp to sign because they don't want to be mandatorily mandated to practice, to be here for mini camp kinds of things.
I get that.
Missed 2 games each of the last 2 seasons. Eric Kendricks has not played a full season since 2017.
For sure.
I don't think that's the mold of what the Titans want. I do think Neville Hewitt is the kind of linebacker the Titans could need. And I don't think we're talking about this guy enough. 32 years old this upcoming season. He's played 4 straight years in Houston. Here's the connection, guys. Spent 2017 with Frank Bush in Miami, played 6 games that year, and then again went to a second stop with Frank Bush. Played 2019 and 2020 as an inside linebacker for the New York Jets when Frank Bush was in New York. Played 28 games for him as a member of the New York Jets in those 2 seasons. He led the Texans in special teams tackles in 2024. Special teams guy. He is probably your 3rd or a 2B linebacker. I think at this point, Otis Reese is your 2nd linebacker playing next to Cody Barton as of today. I think they would like for Cedric Gray by the end of the season in 2025 to be that guy. But regardless, I would like another coverage linebacker to join this room with James Williams. And Neville Hewitt last season, Pro Football Focus loved him in coverage. One of the top coverage linebackers in the National Football League. Fills a special teams need. He's worked with your inside linebackers coach. He's a coverage linebacker you bring in nickel sets on 3rd downs to play 20, 25, 30 snaps a game. I think it's a slam dunk. It's cheap, and it's someone who would be motivated to find a home at this point.
Yeah, and he's been healthy really in the last 5 years of his career. He's played in pretty much every game. I mean, missed a couple in 2022. Had an interception last year for Houston as well. I do remember that.
Yeah. That makes sense based on what you just said there as far as like the availability side of things too. Again, getting over that hump of keeping guys healthy and on the field.
I think you could have maybe done Kendricks instead of Barton if you really wanted Eric Kendricks.
Right.
And again, John Fossil will have been in the same building as Eric last season as the special teams coach for the Dallas Cowboys where Kendricks was. But to me, I think you're looking for a 2B to be a rotational piece as a cover linebacker who can play special teams.
Makes sense.
Yes,
and
it
it's
does.
the depth, too. Like, we were talking about this on the O-line. They not only added starters on the O-line this year, but the priority was also to get the depth, quality depth. And I think that was the problem with linebackers this season. If they see Otis Reese being a starter, I'm okay with that. I mean, he has kind of worked hard to start to gain that type of role, and maybe he's done enough in the offseason too, and they've talked with him about that. But you got to now start getting the depth at those roles too. And so something like this would probably be really a good fit.
And with that being said, too, Cody Barton, 3 for 21, being his contract, he's out there on the field. Having
absolutely.
A 2B
You're
to
not
your
taking
point.
him off on 3rd downs.
Yeah, absolutely not. Having that 2B for the defense made sense. Initially, until you mentioned the injury side of thing, I had a C.J. Mosley, just on the fact of run-stopping guy. Not good in coverage, though.
Another connection, to your coaching staff.
Yes,
He's
another
just
connection.
been injured.
As of late, he has.
Yeah.
Last year, he played only 4 games from what I saw from him. But again, thumper more than anything. Probably not the coverage guy that you want moving forward. And again, figuring out the secondary and linebackers coverage skills is going to be one of the, for me, the storylines of what training camp. Who's that guy?
Absolutely.
But great get right there on Will. He was not on my
that's a
radar.
sneaky-
was not on my
sneaky one.
radar.
And again, like a lot of these guys, I'm not expecting anything imminent. Many times, veterans like this know where they want to go, but don't want to be required to show up for workouts.
Yeah,
in
no
May,
doubt.
Yeah.
in June, especially older players that are like, I trust my trainer and my ability to keep myself healthy. I'll call you come training camp time. So again, like we're going to give you names, I'll give you options, but it might be July until a lot of these guys sign because they don't have to.
They absolutely don't.
Yeah.
And the other part of it, too, is how new still this is here. Like, who are the players that you're actually looking at? Because there's another guy I had on my list was like Mike Hilton. But I'm thinking they probably got like 2 or 3 guys in-house already that can serve that role.
And I think there is a method to minicamp that allows you to see things on the field play out for the first time. Like if you watch James Williams cover, in June, like what does that guy have to do to encourage you to like, hey, maybe he is good enough to actually earn this role? Or can things get bad enough to where you're saying, ooh, we like Elikai Manor, we like Chimere Dike, but I think we need another wide receiver immediately who can come in and do a job. Like that's part of what makes this time of year in evaluating yourself valuable.
And also remember the philosophy that even kind of is with these younger players, because again, this is going to take time. We're not thinking like we're just bringing in these easy pieces just to help win games this year, we want to keep that thought in mind of developing some of these young guys we already have. Because remember, they went and got rid of guys that were depth piece or starters, on this team before the season has started. So I think the development thing is truly what they're trying to do with a lot of these guys.
It is. Another guy that pops up, if we're talking about available free agents, I think could be good here. The style, number one, feels familiar with the front office more than anything. But it's defensive lineman, D tackle, Montravius Adams. Got released recently in Pittsburgh. They end up drafting guys to replace him with. Montravius has been in Green Bay. He's played in those types of defenses. My biggest issue, I think, is as far as run stopping goes, who's coming behind Tavondre. I think the guys they have right now are dudes who are get up field disruptors. And I think that's where the uniqueness of having somebody that play behind Tavondre Sweat, especially in those rundowns, tight red zone, or coming out or going into the end zone. I think you need another body up the middle, a bigger body. And the way Pittsburgh has played defense as of late, holding your man, holding the point, and being that he was also drafted by Chad Brinker and his crew in Green Bay, there's familiarity there for me.
Third-round pick in 2017 out of Auburn, 6'4", 304. Like you mentioned, played 7 games when he was drafted by a regime that Chad Brinker was a part of in 2017. Adams played 11 games last year, had 1 sack, in addition to 14 tackles, 2 TFLs, 1 QB hit for Pittsburgh.
Wonder what his going rate would be.
Is minimum.
All of these guys are going to be vet minimum plus
to that, honestly.
Incentives. It just all depends on when they want to sign.
Yeah,
it's minimum at this point. And that's the point, too, is when do they want to sign and when do the Titans want them in the building, too? Don't do like Pittsburgh does and waiting on Aaron Rodgers. But
it's still not
that plays a part in it, because where this team is with the rebuild, the camaraderie, as Paul said a second ago, too, like that plays a part of this. And not just that, too, seeing what your goods look like. You need to be able to plan and see what guys like. A guy may be in the building right now that may shock you. You might not need an extra defensive tackle, but it's necessary to get as many bodies I think you need going into training camp.
Kayla, who is on your radar? Who is at the top of your wish list of someone who's available?
Well, and I saw you had this on your list, too, so I don't want to take it, but we can go off of this. But Matthew Judon.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think here's the point, where we're at now. And I don't know exactly, too, in terms of his money, because I know, Will, you're like, none of these guys, are high-paid guys at this point. Yep. So you could probably go get anybody you want. But we're talking about a position, again, that we don't really truly have another full-time edge. I think you have versatile guys that you can kind of switch what you want the role to be at any particular point. And you've got a young guy in Olufemi Oladejo who you don't know exactly what you're going to get from the start. I think in the terms of Matthew Judon, what he's going to do at that spot. I think he had 5.5 sacks last year, it's not overly productive, but it's not nothing. And again, you have maybe a veteran presence with a guy with Arden Key, who has also been here, done that. Still looking for consistency, though, from Arden. I just think you need another guy who's going to be primarily just that edge spot until you get everybody else in order. And it might take a year.
If I'm shopping at edge, I want Zadarius Smith.
Is he going to be more expensive, though?
No, I don't think so. None of these guys are really going to cost you anything that has a ton of value.
Yeah.
17 games last year between Cleveland and Detroit, 9 sacks. Zadarius Smith has played 16-plus games in 3 straight seasons. 69 career sacks. He'll be 33 this season. Other than a back injury in 2021, guys, he has played 16-plus games every year since 2018.
Not bad.
So that's the durability piece that this staff and regime really values. And again, he has been coached recently by your position coach. Ben Bloom was in Cleveland as an outside linebackers coach when Zadarius Smith was a Brown in 2023. So if Ben Bloom gives him the vote of confidence and wants to coach him again, he is out there and available, and I think makes Olufemi Oladejo a backup right away, which is meaningful at this point. I would prefer Femi to have time to develop and learn and grow before he is just thrown to the wolves of playing starter level snaps for you at outside linebacker.
And with where he is in his career, to be quite honest with you, I'd be okay if he came in a little bit later, considering what you're employing him to do. He's a rush specialist at this point, edge setter for me. And that's the other part about, like, looking at the other rushers that are available. I don't know if anybody holds the point the way he does. Matt Judon is more the field to me a little bit. Man, he's not undersized, but he's not as big as Darius is. And I also played the mind game, too, of, all right, well, what if you go get a Von Miller? Von Miller is a specialty piece.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he's a specialty piece.
At this point in his career, he's kind of a role player.
Yeah.
Who needs me for
He's
Super
not
Bowl?
an every down kind of guy.
Right.
Like, Philly would sign him in the playoffs. You know,
Exactly.
like that type of role that he's. And I say that with a lot of respect to Von Miller. For
No,
sure.
absolutely. I was looking at Zadarius Smith too, and again, just bringing in the PFF grades because it's not the end all be all, but it is part of it. You can just kind of see, but. I mean, in the green in all areas, I think overall 74.7, his pass rush grade 76.5, run defense 62.8. I mean, this guy is still super productive.
He's still good. Yeah.
I think that's a good point made by you. You don't want to rush all these rooks into starting roles if there is someone cheap available. And with Femi being able to maybe sit back just a little bit and incorporate him on a one-year deal with Zadarius Smith, that could be good.
I think you're also looking at a group of players that may have trade value at the deadline.
Yeah. Yep.
If you do feel like Oladejo has come along, and B, if you feel like somebody's going to overpay you for any of them. Because, like, Zadarius Smith on a cheap deal that's going to cost a contender very little money in October would be in your best interest of, again, accumulating draft capital, being a draft and develop organization. Right now is the time where you can, for very cheap, acquire players who have trade value, because every year teams overpay for two positions at the trade deadline, wide receiver and edge rusher.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So on that same point, should the Titans be in the market for another wide receiver?
As many as you possibly can. Absolutely.
So you think at
You
this
think
point
so?
you want them to go dip back into the wide receiver market?
If it's for minimum, heck yes, Will. Absolutely.
So-
because here's the other part. You got four
Sure.
quarterbacks that have to have reps with that many different wide receivers. Too.
So we're looking at Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, Nelson Aguilar, DJ Chark, Tyler Boyd is kind of the top level wide receivers out there.
Amari Cooper,
See, I just don't know if he can run anymore.
does he have to at this point?
Like he is one of those receivers that does not age well because he had such a big athletic advantage over the DBs he was playing against.
Yeah.
And then when that leaves you, so does your production.
He had some weird thing last year, so I was reading up on him because I was like, what happened with, he played like no games the last 2 games of the season.
burned
Sorry, didn't play a lot of
Pittsburgh.
time. Yeah, I think what happened is he had some weird wrist injury like week 7 against the Seahawks, and he decided to play through that injury, which I don't know now is the best thing for, like you said, an older wide receiver. And I think maybe something happened towards the end because it was an unclarified injury towards the end of the season. So I still don't know exactly what it was, if it was kind of like his wrist again that popped up. But that's what was weird about that whole thing too, because I was like, well, what happened to him at the end of the year?
At this point, I think you only add another wide receiver if you are unsatisfied with the level of production and talent in that room in camp. Because you have so many wide receivers competing for such little place on the roster, it makes it harder for me to evaluate Elikai Omanor and Chimere DK and Xavier Restrepo and Bryce Oliver if Keenan Allen is taking reps from them in camp.
Understood.
Or if Nelson Aguilar is taking reps from them. If you don't like where they are in their development, then maybe you can go make a move
Get
like
one.
that during camp or after mandatory mini camp. But at this point, I don't think that's the top priority. I think Zadarius Smith and or Neville Hewitt is where you really want to live at the moment.
And remember, they had the choice of some of these guys, but they decided to take Van Jefferson.
They did.
It's tough.
I don't know if Van Jefferson's a lock to even make this team.
I
to
don't
be
think
honest with you.
he is.
People made such a big
I
deal
really
of that
don't.
signing at the moment when it happened, but I think he's just kind of a guy at this point in his
I'm
career,
with you on
with
that.
all due respect. I
And
mean,
brings the good veteran leadership stuff where he could bring that into the competition, but not a lock.
615-737-1045, open for your reaction. What do you want the Titans to still add to the roster as it currently sits? More on that next.
I don't think that there's something wrong with your home, and that's why it's not selling. You just need an expert and proven marketing from a real estate agent like my friend Bernie Gallerani. He and his team market homes to thousands of buyers every single month, which creates demand for properties just like yours. And that is exactly what you can get. Top dollar for your home. Bernie Gallerani has more than 200 five-star Google reviews. Go read those and see all of the people who like what he does. He guarantees to sell your home in 30 days or less, or he's just going to buy it from you. And not many people can say that. So get started today. Go and Google Bernie Gallerani real estate at berniegallerani.com, or you can give him a call on his cell phone, 615-428-2644. That's 615-428-2644.
Genesis Diamonds is your destination for the best Mother's Day gifts, man. This year, get her something that is timeless, meaningful, special. Genesis put together an incredible selection of Mother's Day gifts that are both affordable and stylish. Layered necklaces, stackable rings, eternity bands, colored gemstone pieces, heirloom quality jewelry, diamond bracelets, and earrings. These are pieces of jewelry she can wear anywhere from Target to the theater, and she can enjoy them for years to come, too. Dinner out is nice. A thoughtful card is important, too, but if you really want to let mom know what she means to the family, bring her home something from Genesis. How about a birthstone ring or something elegant from Takori? Genesis Diamonds non-commissioned experts can help you pick out the perfect gift too and stay in budget. Or if you really want to splurge, check out Genesis' amazing selection of ladies' pre-owned Rolex watches. So whether it's her first Mother's Day or her 60th, mom deserves a gift that's anything but ordinary. Go see my friends at Genesis Diamonds. Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolexes. They're located in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
RKW 104.5 The Zone, fueled by Scooters Coffee. Visit a locally owned location near you in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Open for your reaction. What is the biggest need left on the Titans roster, and where are you still shopping in free agency? Grant's in Nashville next up. Hey, Grant.
Hey, buddy.
What's going on?
Good morning.
Oh, not much. I think we need to either add C.J. Mosley to the linebacker room. I mean, he's still got some gas in his tank. He could mentor Cedric Gray. Or we need to add Asante Samuel Jr. to the cornerbacks and get rid of Snead. All his trouble.
Yeah, that's going to be fascinating to see how that all works out over this summer coming up.
We haven't heard too much out of it.
Have not heard. I got a little wrinkle of it, but nothing much more that I think that could or should be reported.
So gut feeling, is he here?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's who knows at this point.
Yeah.
But it seems like it can go in his favor. But either way, it's adding another DB though. That is always fascinating, especially on the outside. I think depth is going to be huge, but Asante Samuel Jr. is who we said, right, as far as bringing in.
He's an inside guy.
And he's young enough, too, to where he's probably going to be seeking that type of contract, but he's going to have to do a 1 year at this point, though. And do you also, at this point, allow your young secondary to grow up a little bit more, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, as far as having guys that's capable. Jarvis Brownlee, this is a huge year for him, and not just him, but Roger McCurry as far as being inside guys. Like this is a big time year for him. If I'm not mistaken, not his fault, but he's got an escalator he wants to play up to set himself up for another contract too. And this is where the rubber meets the road for a few of these guys coming in.
With C.J. Mosley, we talked about him in the last segment real briefly, but he had played prior to last season almost every game.
Yeah.
So do we know what that injury was last year?
I didn't dive deep into it.
But he had played just 4 games.
I mean, I wouldn't want to play for the Jets either, the way they look.
Maybe he just sat out, right? At the age of 32. So he'll be 33 in June.
Last season had multiple injuries, including a toe injury and later a herniated disc in his neck.
Oh, that's right.
The disc in his neck ultimately ended his season.
That's rough.
No, I've had
neck
that
injury.
That
is
is
herniated.
Yeah. Well, Well, you don't want. I got a video on my phone of this like 5-inch needle going into my neck. You want to see it?
No.
Oh, you don't want to see it? Okay.
I'll see it.
But
You and Kayla enjoy.
I know that gets.
I'm not really scared of needles, but I'm not also going to seek it out. You know.
If that's
that a
his
big thing?
issue,
At that age, a neck injury, that's a big red flag.
In that spot, that position.
yeah.
And I think, too, you want more of a coverage fit because you've got some thumpers already in the room. And
Sure.
I mean, heck, if I'm going to get another thumper, I'll just go call Chance Campbell again.
And that's to your point.
Who's also a free agent.
That's the only reason. Well, I thought of outside run contain help with the Mike Hilton, but you're right. They got Jarvis Brownlee. They got others in the room that can
Marcus
handle that
Harris.
role too. Yes, Marcus Harris.
So I think the draft pick we've talked the least about.
Young draft pick, Marcus Harris.
Yeah,
yes.
it's the guy we
like
have talked
him.
the least about. What do you like about him?
No.
I don't know. I just think he's one of those guys who's had to kind of grind again in terms of his career. He started at Oregon State, where I think he was only there for a year. Is this the correct one? Sorry.
Yes, out of Cal.
I've been doing so much research. And then he went to Idaho, which is an FCS program. And tell me if I'm wrong again, because all these draft picks are coming together.
I'm pulling it up right now, yeah.
But I believe he was at Idaho for 2 seasons, was really good there in the FCS program. Idaho had 2 good seasons there, too, enough so to get the eyes of Cal, where I think he's been, elevating himself every single year.
Right.
So I just think he's kind of like a player that is developmental, but he has, like, the brains and everything to get to the point that he could maybe be a starter.
You're right.
Anything a backup.
183rd pick, too, ain't bad. But he played 13 games last year at Cal, 46 tackles, 2 interceptions, and a forced fumble. But you're right.
And they had a good
21
defense.
to 23, played 40 games with 34 starts at Idaho after leaving Oregon State after the 2020 season.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you're right. At Idaho, he 154
was
tackles,
really
6
good.
interceptions, 9 tackles for a loss. So, yeah, 35 pat. Will, you're right. This kid can play ball.
He's very athletic. Again, another player that comes with some pretty good traits and athleticism and will immediately be a core special team guy. He had a blocked extra point at one point at Idaho back in 2022, according to the Beast. I mean, not someone you're going to rely on to play major snaps on defense, but again, somebody who I think is at least a body that's going to make this roster.
Yeah, and then on top of that, too, special teams has also got a block kick on his resume, too.
That's what I just said.
You did just say that?
Yeah,
I got so much wrong in my head right
Dude,
now.
Mondays, sometimes my brain,
That's okay.
my brain is like
going on.
mashed potatoes on a Monday sometimes.
We got to get up out of there, man. Jeez Louise.
A question on YouTube says, why aren't the Titans more interested in Nick Chubb? Titans are set at running
I think
back.
they're pretty
They're
good.
good at running back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they just drafted their bruiser.
And if
Khalil
you bring,
Mullings.
you bring in Nick Chubb, why do you have Tony Pollard? It's the real question. Like, Tony Pollard's a starter, Tajay, and then you got the young fella that's also going to end up being the third down back. So
Khalil Mullings.
Mullings. You love the name of Chubb, but Chubb is probably in the same position as a Von Miller, as a few of these other guys. If Chicago called Nick Chubb, he's gone. Like, that's just where it is for me at this point, too.
They need another ad, right? Chicago?
And then the knee looks fine, too, but I don't know if this style of ball is for a premier runner like Chubb's style is, too, in my opinion.
I think they were more of a run-heavy offense last year out of necessity versus desire. I don't think they need another running back.
No.
Yeah, I know you're out on Spears because of last year.
I'm not out on Spears.
No, I'm talking about fans. Fans are? Yeah,
Are they really?
fans are.
That's
Oh, yeah.
news to me.
I've heard it from a lot of people I've talked to, and I think it's because of the concussion stuff that happened. Let me just say this: that guy is a fighter. Like, he's going to do what it takes to try to make himself relevant. I think there was a wave of some bad luck last year with this young man. And I think he was dealing with some stuff. So give him a chance to have a bounce back here. Just give him a shot. I don't think you guys should be out on him quite yet. Again, I'm not a fan, so you guys make your decisions. I'm just trying to bring you some behind the scenes of that. I don't know if I would be out on him completely.
For sure.
Depends on what you're out on him as being. Like,
I mean, he's number 2 at this point.
Right. I'm saying, like, he's not a feature back.
Right.
Like, I think Tajay Spears helps. Him and Tony Pollard are one, and I think Khalil Mullings is 2. Those two are going to split your 1, and then Mullings will be your more short yardage guy.
I was thinking.
I don't know. I mean, he's just another body in there.
Yeah.
I think he's got still an opportunity to bounce back.
Yeah,
Not totally out on him.
100%.
Not giving up on him at all. It's only year 3.
And considering what the offense was last year, too, I don't think you got an opportunity to see what he was very capable of, too. Like, I think we all view Tajay as the scat back, get him into open space type of guy,
Pass
too.
catcher. Yeah.
Coming up, second half of the show, hour 3. Coming up in hour 3, we'll catch up with former Titans tight end Ben Troupe, get his thoughts on Chimere Dike, Gunnar Helm, the offense moving forward. A little bit of a nugget drop by Quinn Ewers' agent. 2 programs who were interested in the now former Texas quarterback who wanted to leave a legacy. Not really something we talk about a lot of the NIL landscape of college football. We'll dive into that story coming up to kick off hour 3 up next. What's going on? It's Will Bowling. Are you headed to the beach or pool this summer? The answer's got to be yes, right? If so, you may benefit from water-resistant hearing aids. If you are planning to attend weddings, social gatherings, you'll be in larger crowds. You need to participate in conversation. You're going to benefit from hearing aids that significantly reduce background noise and enable you to hear and understand conversation. I want to introduce you to my friends at Brentwood Hearing Center. Their doctors of audiology at Brentwood Hearing offer the latest hearing device technology and, yes, a water-resistant hearing aid that will also help you in those situations. That's weddings, it's cocktail parties, social gatherings where you find it difficult to engage in conversation because of the presence of background noise. Give them a call, 615-377-0420, or visit them online at BrentwoodHearingCenter.com to learn more about how they can tailor a hearing solution to meet your individual hearing care needs. Once again, the number, 615-377-0420. Their website is great as well. You can check them out online at BrentwoodHearingCenter.com. That's Brentwood Hearing Center. Better hearing, better life.
Genesis Diamonds is your destination for the best Mother's Day gift. This year, get her something that is timeless, meaningful, and special, man. Genesis has put together an incredible selection of Mother's Day gifts that are both affordable and stylish. They have layered necklaces, stackable rings, eternity bands, colored gemstones, heirloom quality jewelry, diamond bracelets, and earrings. These are pieces of jewelry she can wear anywhere from Target to the theater, all right? And she can enjoy them for years to come. Dinner out is nice, and also a thoughtful card is important too. But if you really want to let mom know what she means to the family, bring her home something from Genesis. How about a birthstone ring or something elegant from Takori? Genesis Diamonds has their non-commissioned experts that can help out pick the perfect gift too and stay in budget. Or if you really want to splurge, check out Genesis' amazing selection of ladies' pre-owned Rolex watches. So whether it's her first Mother's Day or her 60th, mom deserves a gift that's anything but ordinary. So go see my friends at Genesis Diamonds. They also have luxury pre-owned Rolexes too, and they're located in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Good Monday morning. It's 8:01 from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. Rookie minicamps are getting started this week in the NFL. The Ravens, Chiefs, Eagles, Packers, Cowboys, and Seahawks all got started over the weekend, and most of the rest of the NFL, including the Titans, will get started this Friday, May 9th. Nashville SC and Atlanta United resulted in a 1-1 draw Saturday afternoon in Atlanta. Defenseman Dan Lovett scored the equalizer and saved a point for Nashville in the 66th minute. came via a Hani Mukhtar corner kick, who got the assist. Nashville SC moves to 5-2-4 in the season with 17 points, and they currently sit 6th in the Eastern Conference. The NHL playoffs are off to a thrilling start, with the first round of the playoffs now in the rear view. Lots of drama last night in Game 7 between the St. Louis Blues and Winnipeg Jets. With 1.6 seconds left in the game, the Jets tied it up at 3, and then they go on to win via Adam Lowry tip shot with 16 minutes into double overtime. The Jets now host the Dallas Stars in round 2, who beat the Colorado Avalanche in 7 games. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you've got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
RKW, Ramon, Kayla, and Will is fueled by Scooter's Coffee, transitioning into the second half of your Monday. 615-737-1045 is the number. You can stream the show live on 1045 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. When you hit the comment section there, you officially join the F&M Bank chat. Guys, we would like to cross this milestone this morning during our show because we're selfish like that. The Zone very close, within touching distance of 15,000 YouTube subscribers. Please allow us the opportunity to brag as the show that gets it over the hump.
Come on, man.
That would be
So
awesome.
head to the 1045 The Zone YouTube channel and subscribe while you are here on 1045 The Zone TV. So Quinn Ewer's agent dropped a little bit of a nugget this week that I think is interesting, and I'm curious if it means that 2 teams specifically were in the mix for his services this past season. So, of course, Quinn Ewers last season, represented by Ron Slavin of Sports Stars.
Not Ron Slay?
Spoke with, not Ron Slay. Slay has enough jobs. We don't need to be giving him any more. I think he would agree with that more than anybody. Spoke with ESPN's Todd Archer about Quinn Ewers' situation and said some teams graded him as high as a 3rd-round pick. So Ewers obviously decides, hey, Arch Manning's the guy. I could transfer, but let me go ahead and go to the NFL. Well, Slavin tells ESPN, says, when they beat Arizona State on January 1st, the next game was January 10th. If he was going to commit to Miami or Notre Dame, he's going to do that while his team's got a playoff game in a week, and his teammates are going to look at him like, you're going to another school if we lose. You can't do that. Interested if Miami or Notre Dame was just hypothetical teams. I think the reality probably is that Miami and Notre Dame are calling Quinn Ewers trying to get him to enter the portal while he's getting ready for playoff games because the non-serious people in charge of college football have put a player acquisition cycle in the transfer portal in the middle of playoff games.
Yep, they have. It complicated it for Quinn Ewers. It absolutely did. It wasn't like he was playing bad or his team had gotten bad, like, a Carson Beck situation where there was an injury and you knew he couldn't necessarily go to the NFL. If there was a bigger opportunity for him in Miami, I do think, Will, that was a conversation that was had. Again, we speak about this all the time. Everybody's agents calling every single team. And Notre Dame and Miami being one of those spenders, I would say Miami being a spender for sure. I definitely think Miami called. Now, Quinn Ewers and Notre Dame, that situation right there, maybe he called them. But the conversation about how to commit to him while you're in the college football playoffs is weird, which is, again, go back to the Nico Iamaleava situation. Like, the fact that you called during the middle of the college football playoffs to Oregon, whoever else was the case. Like, I'm glad that Lanning called Tennessee because, again, think about the agent who's actually looking for money situations, Kayla. Well, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's on him to go get more money for his client. And the fact that they chose, you know what? No, your legacy's intact at Texas. How about you go ahead and start your second career? I got to say, for somebody that hadn't been high on Quinn Ewers, I tip of the cap to you for making that decision because he could have said, I'm going regardless.
I'm on the same boat with you in terms of the way he went about it. And I do believe he thought, honestly, Texas could win a championship. I mean, they were one of the best teams in the playoffs, no doubt about it. One of the more talented teams in the playoffs. And, of course, anything can happen. But I think that they had all the goods. I don't think that they thought, they would be losing to Arizona State in that situation. So hats off to him for that. My bigger question, guys, is do you think he could have helped himself if he were to go to Miami or a Notre Dame this year? Or do you think it was smart in a year that the quarterback class was down in the draft that he entered?
So
I don't know.
I was telling you guys that I read a similar article. It was Greg McElroy was speaking this past weekend, if I'm not mistaken. He was on Always College Football. He
That's his show, yeah.
Yeah. That's his show. I have to start checking out. He's dropping a lot of nuggets out there.
Yeah,
but
it's a good podcast.
He went into this similar conversation. You talk about like the quarterback class and stuff like that. But the title of this was what Isaiah Bond did at Alabama, the play that he made that made him a legend down there, potentially lost millions of dollars. And not just that, the legacy of what he could have built on at Alabama had he stayed. He was like, Isaiah Bond, I'm sure, got more money to go to Texas. But the idea of that play,
the play against Auburn.
The play against Auburn.
He was the guy that made the catch on the grave digger play to win the Iron Bowl.
He was just like, there are people making paintings of that. There are people like with pictures of that. There's autograph signings that could have been had he stayed at the University of Alabama and collected his legacy more than anything. And I think that's the separator with what a lot of these guys are doing. Like when you leave those said schools, you do leave all that behind. And a lot of those universities hold grudges. Isaiah Bond, from my understanding from what Greg McElroy was saying, he can't go back to Alabama.
No.
He can't capitalize off of this.
Especially when you transfer within the conference.
Exactly.
And Texas did beat Arizona State, by the way. That wasn't their last game.
Oh, sorry. Okay. That's right.
They won in overtime.
Scattaboo made it a game terms of the end. That's right.
Yeah.
They did beat Arizona State.
Josh Pate made this point on his show last week that the speaker money you can make as former Texas quarterback Quinn Ewers for the rest of your life is significant enough that having a legacy as a Texas quarterback might honestly make him more money than what he would have made if he'd waited one more year and gone to the NFL.
Okay.
Like that is the crazy thing. Answering your question, Kayla, it just depends on what's important to you, the person. Do you want to have a legacy as that team's player forever? To where every time you go to speaking circuits, every time you go talk to your alma mater's team, you are a born and bred player of that team? Or is it more important for you to chase the NFL draft stock? I don't think there's a wrong answer. I think it just depends on what you think is valuable for your family, for your life, and your career. And I think we as college football fans need to be all right with there being correct answers on both sides of that argument for any given player.
Yeah.
That's fair.
And it goes, real quick paragraph. He said, you can't measure the money that's being lost, basically, is what he's saying. It's like you can't put a price tag on it. He's like, maybe.
Talk about Isaiah Bond.
Isaiah Bond. And he ties Nico into it also. It's like, maybe $1 million was lost by Isaiah, or maybe $1 million was lost by Nico, or gained in the initial transaction. He's like, but in Isaiah Bond's case, he made more at Texas than he would at Alabama. He said, but because he left Alabama, he no longer has earning potential in Tuscaloosa.
That's correct.
Which there's always a lot there.
It's a short-term bag that might end up getting you less long-term. And again, if that's what's important to you, so be it.
Yeah.
And for some people, it's valuable for their families. Like, hey, I want this money now. I want to strike where the iron's hot, and that's fine. Or if you want to wait longer and have more of a legend status in one place and a legacy, then that's fine too.
But the difference is, though, to me, like, so, all right, Jarrell Casey ended up having to leave, right, and go. Derek had to leave and go to another place. But there's a difference, I think, between college fan bases and NFL fan bases. You understand the transaction being made in the NFL, right? But there's such a personal attachment to your college teams that, like, I don't think college fans allow those types of players to come back after the fact because you chose to leave in these situations. Like, and I don't think everybody's adjusted to the business dealings of what NIL is and the transfer portal is, too.
And some can leave and be okay still because they had to elevate, like, from a smaller school to a bit. Like, I don't think Washington State fans are hating Cam Ward.
Right. No,
But
not
if it's something like Isaiah Bond, like, that's kind of you're going within the conference, you're going to another big, I don't know.
I personally, this is me, and I know I think we've had this conversation lightly, but, like, looking at, like, Henry To'oTo'o's situation, or Nico's, and heck, even a little bit of Cedric Gray's. What's the tackle? Eric Gray. I said Cedric Gray. The tackle that's at Kansas City right now, former Vol. It went to Oklahoma.
Dejon Terry?
No. The
he was an
former
Oklahoma
Vol
tackle.
That left after Bruce. I mean, it left after Pruitt. Golly. I'm going to get his name in a minute. Plays for Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh, Wanya Morris, offensive
Wanya.
tackle. You said defensive tackle.
Wanya plays both
I
sides.
thought you did.
Wanya, yeah. I was, Mario, that's on me.
Yeah, left and right tackle, right?
Okay.
No, I'm talking about like as far as Tennessee and like Oklahoma.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tennessee and Oklahoma.
Yeah.
He does it. And you know what? If certain people are cool with it, I'll probably see him dap him up. But as far as like the Vol status side of it, it's hard for me to like re-embrace that.
Yeah, the second you leave, you're not a Vol.
And I know it's Vol for life. He played, he started.
There are exceptions, but like when you leave and go somewhere else, like I personally don't claim you as a Tennessee guy anymore. Like the only ways I do, or if you kind of got asked to leave, like Jarrett Garantano left Tennessee.
Yeah,
Jarrett Garantano served Tennessee pretty well when they didn't serve him back, and the way he gave back to the fan base and to the community, like he's an exception.
Yeah,
like I think Olivier Kamwa is an exception. A guy that transferred to Michigan, wasn't within the conference, won you an NCAA tournament game against Duke. Like that's a guy yeah, he's a Vol. But like Jonas Adu, within the conference, going to play for John Calipari, it's a little sticky. So I agree with you.
Yeah.
There's not a one size fits all approach to it.
It's not, but if you are a fan and you love those former guys, hey, I'm all for it. And it's vice versa too. The guys we get from other places that become Vols, like I gotta love them now because they are and they finish their careers there being that. It's a whole lot different, I think, NFL free agency versus transfer portal in college.
It is crazy, though. I think people underestimate how much money can be made on the speaker circuit for quarterbacks after they retire from
Texas?
There's a bunch of them.
Anywhere.
But especially like former Texas quarterback, former Alabama quarterback.
Yep.
Like Pate mentioned it on his show. Colt McCoy. Just raking it in.
Yeah.
Greg
That's
McElroy.
former Texas quarterback.
McElroy said that on his show.
Yeah.
He said the same thing about Nico. He said if Nico had stayed,
right,
made it to the
just
playoffs,
one more year.
Absolutely.
Even if you're a 6th round pick,
you
you're former Tennessee quarterback Nico Iamaleava. Now you're just the guy that wanted more money. Even if that was maybe a noble pursuit based on the market.
Right.
Fans aren't going to view it that way. That's for sure.
By the way, Isaiah Bond still doesn't have a team. I mean,
that's right. He's got some off-field stuff, too.
Yeah. UDFA, he wants to be, but.
But imagine if that case goes by and he can go back to Tuscaloosa and still earn. It is what it is. And he's probably rich as heck anyway right now. It don't matter.
Coming up, former Tennessee Titans tight end Ben Troupe. He is also a former Florida Gator who can talk about Chimere Dike with us, Gunnar Helm and his addition to the offense, and much, much more after this. RKW, fueled by Scooters Coffee. Visit a locally owned location near you in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Crews all here. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling. Joined by former Tennessee Titans tight end, former Florida Gator, Ben Troupe on the program this morning. Ben, what's going on, man?
It was a pleasure to be on with y'all fine people.
Yes, sir. Appreciate your time as always. How good do you feel about the draft class, about the Titans at this point, Ben, with where they are heading into rookie minicamp this week?
I feel real good. I mean, obviously, Cam Ward was the guy that was highly coveted to be the number one overall pick. I'm happy that, I know with all the smoke and mirrors and all the mock drafts these days, it's hard to know who's going to actually go number one. But I'm happy that he went number one. I like what he did for his former teammate Strepo, helping him get on as an undrafted free agent. But I like Cam Ward. I like what he's going to bring to the table. Obviously, it doesn't mean much now because it's still 0-0 as far as like the records go. But this AFC South is wide open, and I just think that not to compare the young man to what Jaden Daniels did last year, but I think people got big aspirations. I think the Warren Moon passing the torch from his number one to give it to Cam Wood, I think that was a class act, especially with all these other youngers coming into the league asking for, LT's number and Phil Sims' number. I think that Warren Moon doing that shows that he supports the young man, but that's some Shaq-type shoes to fill when you're talking about what Warren Moon meant, not just to the Oilers and the Titans, but what he meant to the whole National Football League.
Former Titan Ben Troupe with us. Ben, how comfortable are you with the weapons and the supporting cast the Titans have put around Cam Ward for his rookie season?
I feel good about him. I mean, obviously they got to go out there and get it done. I like the fact that, Calvin Ridley, guys like DK coming in, from my Florida Gators, a young man out of Stanford coming in. You got guys like Calvin Ridley who get to mentor him. Now, Traylon Burks is going to be the wild card. I know they didn't pick up his fifth-year option, but I think this is a proven year for him. I mean, he's going to be back this year. Obviously, it's not going to be easy for him to make the team being a former number one overall pick, but I think you got a nice blend, of young talent and, veterans that can help this offense go. I know it's going to be about how the whole team gel, but I do like what they put around Cam.
Our good friend Ben Troupe joining us this morning on RKW. Let's talk about the former Florida Gator, Chimere DK. And I know one thing he definitely is going to bring this team is some speed. Could he be a contributor year one, Ben?
I think he can. I mean, he's going to have to learn real quick. I mean, I obviously got a chance to see a lot of DK last year. I didn't see him running what he ran. I mean, that's, 4.3, I mean, definitely stands out in the combine. DK is going to have to come in and understand that he's going to get probably the number 3 corner. I see him being more of a slot guy than an outside guy, which is no knock against him. You can't buy speed, but he definitely has it. He comes in with the right mentality, which I know he has. Did it at 2 schools. Was able to go out there last year at Florida being a go-to guy. I think him and Cam Ward are going to have something really nice going on, especially when if you're gonna have to double a guy like Calvin Ridley, somebody's going to be one-on-one. So I think in that slot, which I think DK is going to make his money, I think he got a shot to be a contributor. He's going to have to prove it, but I definitely think he got the tools.
Ben Troupe joined us this morning on RKW, former Titan tight end. Speaking of the tight ends, they went and got the Texas tight end, Gunnar Helm. And this is a guy who can be pretty good in the red zone. You've already got Chikakonkwo. You've got a guy like Josh Wiley. What can he do in terms of helping Cam Ward year one?
He could be a weapon. I mean, a lot of these rookie tight ends coming in right now, they coming out of college, stepping into these offenses, and they already are ready to step in. As you mentioned, him being a potential red zone. You don't want to draft. You got 3 different tight ends on the same team, which is what you want. You don't want to draft the same guy 3 times. And I think, but once again, he's going to have to show that, hey, man, he's going to have to start on special teams in order to be on the game day roster week in and week out, which I definitely, coming from a place like Texas, he's not running from any competition. But when we got him at in the draft, I thought it was a really, really good value. He's obviously has the athletic ability to do it in a NFL that has gotten very, very tight end friendly. Not very, very quickly, so you definitely want to have more than one guy. I think it's going to free Chiggs up to really do what he do, not make him be more of an inline blocker like he has been, and hopefully he can find a way to work himself into it.
Our good friend Ben Troupe is with us. Troupe, man, congratulations to you, Florida Gators, and the national championship in basketball, too. By the way, I feel bad if I didn't at least mention that a little bit, Troupe.
Ramon, you a class act for that, man. I appreciate you doing. I'm not gonna come on here and do what you thought I was gonna do, Ramon. Listen, I saved that for the Auburn fans. Tennessee, I did what y'all during the regular season. I can't escape that, but I do appreciate that, Ramon. It says a lot about you, sir. We will hold up the banner for the SEC, the national champions of basketball. We don't really want to talk about football right now.
Well, but you can though, Troupe. I want to go to college real quick because I know you was very passionate about it. for a little while, too. Speaking of your quarterback, it's good to see he's back throwing, and I'm glad you still kept your quarterback in the spring. As for the Vols and their spring quarterback situation, Nico Ilmaliava ended up leaving Troupe, and it's one of those situations where we're slowly getting by, but where was your stance on the idea of this type of stuff happening in college football, Troupe?
I wasn't surprised that it happened. I was surprised that, Nico or maybe even Tennessee allowed it to get to that point, because I heard that negotiations started back in January. But think about this, Ramon, as much as we talk about NIL, this is the first ever holdout. This is the first ever one. Now, you never wanted to be your team. Nobody wants to be the poster child for the rest of college football. But listen to me, and I said this. I said Nico to me is the player version of Lane Kiffin. Everybody can handle Tennessee. You think you want to do it, but then you got the money, and you got the college football playoff, and you got the prestige, and you wanted more money, but then when you ain't get what you want, Coach Heupel and company was like, look, man, we like what you do, but we know how much you fit into this team. You are the key component, and you did do what Hendon Hooker, Joe Milton didn't do. But just because you want more money doesn't mean we're going to give you more money. We gave you almost $9 million, and you didn't even know what the state of Tennessee was. And then all of a sudden you want more money. I think they said, look, man, we don't want it. They did this for future quarterbacks. Look, if we do this for him, you know what we're going to do when the next guy. So I give Tennessee a lot of credit, but that's going to hurt his legacy. Because let me tell you something. There are certain teams you can play with. Tennessee is not a team you can play with, because when you play with teams like that, that's a part of the college football fabric. What you think them GMs in the NFL looking at, hey, man, you see what you did at Tennessee? UCLA is cool, but that is not Tennessee, nothing against them Bruins.
So you think there could be residual of a decision like this when it comes down to pre-draft conversations and situation? Because we saw a little bit of what the pre-draft can do with Shedeur. I think that kind of showed his ugly head, and you're getting more answers as to how that fallout or his fall happened too. On this college level, these decisions right here, Troupe, do you think it matters as much, especially for guys like Nico was good but not great, that make these type of decisions based upon play right now scenarios?
Absolutely. The NFL is built a certain way. You either gonna listen, you either gonna get in line, fall in line, or you won't get to be in this line. And they don't care who you are. And the thing about Nico is a good player. But I was a part of the 2004 draft when Eli Manning told the Chargers he wasn't going to play for the Chargers. But he was also a Manning, and he was also going to be the bona fide number one overall pick. They wasn't being disrespectful. They were just being honest. There aren't too many people that got leverage like that. The Sanders don't got leverage like that. Nico don't got leverage like that. And when you're going through these pre-draft processes, you can lie to everybody else, because you don't have to. When you sit in front, when you go to the combine, they ask Nico. They're gonna say Nico. They're gonna have two questions. What happened? And he gonna have to tell them the truth, whether it was his dad or not. But at the end of the day, it don't make no sense. NIL worked for Nico. It worked for him in a way that might not work for nobody else. And you took less money to go to UCLA. So they're going to be like, so I thought you left because you didn't get the money to take less money to go to UCLA. If you didn't want to be in Tennessee, just say, hey, coach, man, this ain't working out the way I thought. This SEC stuff, it's crazy. It never, ever goes away. Everybody wants what comes with SEC football, but you don't want to deal with the scrutiny that comes with not winning at all. And I get it. But Nico, whether it was his dad or not, it's going to be on him. Daddy don't play football. Nico, you do. He's going to have the answer for it. I hope he plays well at UCLA, because if he plays subpar, that might make him dip. I mean, he's going to get drafted, but I don't think he's going to get drafted as high as he could have been. Listen, Tennessee on your resume sounds a lot better than UCLA. And like I said, I don't mean no disrespect to UCLA or USC. There ain't a college in California that's better resume builder than UT.
Former Titan and former Florida Gator, Ben Troupe, with us this morning. So, Ben, how do you fix this wild, wild west to the NCAA with NIL and the transfer portal? From your perspective, what's the biggest thing that could prevent situations like this from happening?
You got to just draw a line in the sand. I mean, sometimes these colleges, even though they ain't the ones, quote, giving these players the money, you got the leverage. They act like you got to give them that just because they asking for it. If a player say, I'm not coming to your school because you don't want to give me X amount of dollars, all right, don't come. You think that we're really – how do I know what a player is going to be until you get out there? I don't. Now, the NCAA is the ones at fault. They sat back and saw this hurricane coming and didn't put no sandbags out. They say, hey, man, we just hope that we make it through this. That's the ones at fault. But I'm not faulting the Nikos of the world. I just think that just because they asked for $9 million, what really makes you the number one quarterback? Because somebody says you are, because you had the best stats. You got to find a way to put guardrails on it at your individual school, and you got to deal with the consequences, because Somebody going to have to lead the way. I hope it is a Tennessee. I hope it is like an Alabama or a Georgia or a Florida. I'm talking about leaders in college athletics, not just college football, because if not, it's going to get even uglier because everybody in college football thinks they're better than the current crop of players, even if they haven't done anything. I think Nico is a wise tale for all of us to look back and say, hey, if we control the market, why are we letting them decide it? You can't do not let an 18 or 19-year-old decide the market because it's only going to go up from here.
Ben, how good do you feel about your Gators entering this season? I know DJ Lagway is finally throwing. There's videos of him throwing a football, so we know that that's finally happening. But with the amount of talent you guys bring back, with the gauntlet schedule that you still have, how high are expectations for Billy Napier and your Gators this year?
They're extremely high, extremely high. I mean, you see what DJ Lagway did in 2024, 5 starts, 5 wins. Finished the season 8-5, and was able to keep LSU and Ole Miss out of the college football playoff. But it's going to come down to how well he plays with all this talent because, like I said, there was a lot of hype going into 2024, and Cam Ward, he shut that down. First game of the year in the Swamp. It's almost like perception and reality. Usually don't live in the same house. For Florida, they're going to have to be really, really close. This DJ Lagway kid, he is as good as advertised, but hopefully the momentum of 2024 can go into 2025. The only thing about it is Texas is coming. Georgia is coming. Texas A&M is coming. Ole Miss, you got to go up there. LSU, you got to go over there. You got to go down to Miami. So it's not going to be easy, but I do think we got the right guy for the job, but that doesn't mean that the win total is going to be what they want to be. I hope it is, but I guess we got to wait to the real game starts in the fall.
Ben Troupe joining us this morning on RKW. So from one Florida quarterback who's there currently to another one who is just trying to figure out what the heck his role will be up in Indianapolis. What do you make of what Indy has done with the quarterback room, and what are the chances that AR continues his career up there?
It's going to be hard for AR, and the reason why I say it is this. When AR first got drafted, it was all about athleticism. I mean, 6'4", 6'5", 250, can run a 4.4, can throw it, 80 yards, but that's not the quarterback position. That's athleticism. Missed most of his rookie year, got outplayed a little bit, by Joe Flacco in year 2. Daniel Jones decided to go to Indy because he thinks he's better than Anthony Richardson. He said, I think I can outplay him. And to me, that's the part. I didn't think Daniel Jones would find him. When he was picking where he was going to go, I didn't think it was going to be Indy. Anthony Richardson he's in the driver's seat because he got drafted, but they've seen more than a sample size of him. I think you got to give a quarterback at least 3 years. But if Anthony Richardson wants to not just continue his career in Indy and have, be a franchise guy, he's going to have to beat out a former, top 10 pick, top 5 pick, I want to say, and a guy like Daniel Jones. I was there in 2019. That's when I first seen Ramon out there on that red carpet. I didn't want to say nothing to him. Ramon, I was looking right at Ramon walk. We was out there on that red carpet. When Daniel Jones got drafted as high as he did, I just think that for Anthony Richardson, he's either going to realize athleticism is great if you can use it when needed. It can't be how you play the quarterback position because he got to prove that he can make it for 17 games as a starter regardless of the record.
Ben Troupe with us this morning. Troupe, when you look at the Titans' current situation right now, going back to the NFL with Cam Ward, man, you were here when Vince Young came in as a rookie also with a lot of praise and expectation behind him too. What are the differences that have to happen for a guy like Cam that didn't happen for a guy like Vince?
I think for a guy like Cam, he has to be willing to take the bumps and the bruises and take it as feedback and not criticism. Because I think a guy like Vince Young, he replaced Steve McNair, and I don't think he handled the feedback well. He looked at it as people just criticizing me. Now with Cam Ward, listen, he's going to be incredible, but as a Titans, onlooker and watching, he's gonna make some mistakes. Cam will make mistakes, but Cam Ward seems to be poised for this. I mean, you look at what he did at 2 schools. He went to Miami to be the number 1 overall pick, which he did. I think Cam Ward, to me, has Vince Young type ability. I just think mentally, I just think he's much farther along, and that's no knock against Vince. I just, as a person that played with Vince Young for 2 years. It was puzzling to me how Vince Young handled a lot of it. Listen, Jeff Fisher took care of Vince Young in ways that quarterbacks and head coaches do not look out for each other. I don't think Vince looked out for Jeff the way Jeff looked out for him. I think Cam Ward, is going to help Coach Callahan really come into his own as a coach because they're going to get to grow together. And hopefully, man, he can make leaps and bounds as a rookie because, like I say, this AFC South is wide open. Take nothing away from what the boys doing over there in Houston.
He is Ben Troupe. On Twitter, you get him at BenTroupe84, former Tennessee Titan, former Florida Gator. Always brings it every time we get to sit down with him. Great stuff as always, Ben. Thanks so much, man.
Thanks, Ben.
Listen, Will, Ramon, and Caleb, man, anytime you guys need me, like I say, Ramon, you are a class act, sir. So just know, when y'all won the national championship in baseball, don't call my phone. I changed the phone number.
I don't know if we're getting there again this year, man. It's treacherous in the SEC right now in baseball, dog.
Sure is.
Yes, it is.
No doubt. Thank you, Ben. Appreciate you, sir.
Appreciate you.
All right, there's Ben Troupe. Always high energy, bringing it.
That's some really interesting stuff about Vince Young, too, because we've always heard, like, maybe he wasn't all the way in the playbook all the time and didn't do the studying part, but also, like, Jeff Fisher kind of let him
You
take
hate to use the
over.
word baby, but
Yeah.
it seems to me Jeff curated a lot. Curated is the word for Vince. And to hear Troupe say, like, Vince didn't return that favor by also pouring in, by also being, the franchise representative is that's a story that probably
Really
never get old
interesting.
here in Nashville.
I think some of Vince Young's best and worst moments are when he went off script, which was part of the challenge with that. The 99-yard drive that he had to beat the Arizona Cardinals that I'm sure Tyler Lockett was watching, since he mentioned last weekend that he loved those teams, and Kenny Britt was the recipient of that legendary moment in Nissan Stadium. But, I mean, that play was on a drive that Vince Young was pretty much just drawing up in the huddle. Like, you hear stories of that from people who were on that staff or on that team. Like, they were literally what you would do at recess, where you would hold out the football and you would draw with your finger. All right, you go here, you go here. I'm going to go here. I'm going to look to you. And then, like, that's literally what was happening on that drive. And you can only last so long in the NFL going off script.
Yeah.
And if you do succeed that way, it's because you've got talent like Patrick Mahomes. But even he has had to rein it in a little bit.
But to your point, though, about, like, the script, like, you got to follow the script to get to the off-script stuff first. And
You got to earn the right.
Yeah, and that's where I guess it became problematic to a guy like Vince, or to your point, Caleb, by Anthony Richardson. Like, you can do that, in your rookie year potentially.
Sure.
But at some point, you got to be able to read the defense, dissect the plays, and build on that play before you go and do your own thing.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Coming up, some news in college football that just broke. A coach in college football will be suspended for 2 games this season, but not weeks 1 and 2. That's next.
It's Ramon Foster for Secure Lawn. Good people, man. It is that time of the year, man, where you want to brag a little bit more. We're getting all this rain, and you want to make sure your grass is growing the way you need it to with no weeds, man. If you're like me, you obsessively care about how thick and green and healthy your grass is. Your spouse and your friends tell you talk about your grass and you talk about anything else, man. That's because you want to be the envy of it. Well, Secure Lawn is a company that you need to call that's going to have your grass healthy and thick and lush, man. I promise you, they're some of the best out there doing it, man. And they also want to create lifetime customers too with how they provide a prime service to you. What that means is this: is having their team members properly trained to provide that prime service for you, supplying their customer with the expectation that will make them lifelong. Again, some of the best to do it. They've been around here in Middle Tennessee for over 20 years. They're punctual, quick response time, and here's the cool part about it, man. They're family owned and operated. If you want to get like me and many people around the mid-state, man, to have some of the best looking yards around, reach out to the company I trust. You can call Secure Lawn at 615-893-8455 or go to securelawn.com.
RKW 104.5 The Zone, fueled by Scooters Coffee. Wrapping up hour number 3. The Monday roast coming up in a half hour. Your phone calls at 615-737-1045. Michigan is expected to suspend Sharon Moore for 2 games during the 2025 season. However, it will not be the first 2 games of the season. Odd. The suspensions are reportedly going to be for Michigan's 3rd and 4th opponents of the year, Central Michigan and Nebraska. Moore will be barred from any team-related activities during those weeks. Dan Wetzel points out there is a difference between his suspension and former coach's Jim Harbaugh's, which was served to start the 2023 season, because Harbaugh was involved in practice and team activities during the week, but could not coach on game day. So since Moore's punishment is self-imposed, he can coach week 1 and 2, and that is valuable because they play Oklahoma in week 2. And guess where Sharon Moore played college football?
Where did he play, Will?
Oklahoma.
Played guard there in 06 and 07, and he will be suspended for Spygate.
Man, way to fleece the system is all you can say.
What is that about?
Right there.
What the hell?
So for the people, well, it was not people. It was the comment we had earlier, like, that blamed Tennessee for what happened and like the Nico situation. But this is an NCAA situation. Like, NCAA, do the right thing, or is it just money-based anyway? Because, again, the home opener is always big for the home team, right?
Yeah.
And then, of course, you got to go to Nebraska. And that's just very problematic to me in how you set Oklahoma. That's how you set that type of stuff up. At the end of the day, what they're telling us is this. If it make dollar, it makes sense to them, right? And the first 2 games to me seem like the biggest jumping point ever as it pertains to how you suspend somebody. If I could pick and choose when I got suspended, oh my gosh.
Right?
Like, that would be a luxury. And then on top of that, after he comes back, after he serves those 2 games suspension, they got a bye week too. So it's just like he just gets a paid vacation. Heck, I'd go to the Bahamas or Cancun if I was him at this point.
I just find it ironic, too, because it's like when Jim Harbaugh was suspended for coaching those, games, he couldn't coach. It was Moore who had to step in and then eventually became the head coach, and now he's suspended for like, this is like an ongoing thing here at Michigan, where it's like you keep seeing like the whole trickle-down effect of what happened with Connor Stallions.
Michigan received an official notice of allegations last August, but the school still says there are factually unsupported infractions, exaggerates aggravating factors, ignores mitigating facts according to the document. Michigan also asked the NCAA to treat this as a level 2 standard case instead of a level 1. Essentially, when you get self-imposed suspensions, it's kind of like settling something out of court. Yeah. You're hoping that penalty is enough and that the NCAA doesn't levy anything else on them. I think the straight bullet here is Nebraska. Man, they view so little of your program, Nebraska. They don't even want to have their head coach coaching against you. He'd rather go home and shake hands at a non-conference game with his old friends in Oklahoma than he would to coach a conference game against Nebraska. Like, that's borderline disrespectful.
Antonio Brown's University and then Nebraska. Yeah. Like Central
Will Compton's University.
Yeah, Will Compton's University. There we go.
It is interesting, though. So if I am the head coach of a program that's likely going to start a true freshman at quarterback week 1, I'd try to do this too. I mean, I think it's as much about that as it is the Oklahoma game. If Bryce Underwood is the week 1 starter, like being on the sideline to see in real time, whether it's him, whether it's someone else who does end up starting week 1, like, how do I adjust and when do I make a move to Bryce Underwood? Like, how do I prepare him? Because, if he's not going to be able to be on the practice field with the team either, then you would like to have him building up to Bryce Underwood's first and second games to coach him in real time.
No doubt about it. And that, of course, the curation of the sport is always going to be there, man, when it comes down to what they want the brands and product to look like, too. Like, Michigan means a lot to college football. Their head coach being on the sideline for that home opener means a lot. So it's just that the ways of governing how you delegate suspensions and penalties is there's no rhyme or reason to it whatsoever. At this point, Jeremy Pruitt might have a case, like, as far as trying to sue the NCAA and stuff. I don't think he does have much of one, but what are the guidelines and parameters that they follow that to a T? There aren't any in college football.
Yeah,
I don't know many people that can pick and choose when they're going to get suspended. Now, again, he claims he didn't notice, but clearly there was something there for the NCAA to bring this up and just in general.
the gift that keeps on giving there at Michigan.
Connor Stallion. I almost looked at that documentary on Netflix
I didn't end
this
up
past
watching
weekend. I got mixed reviews on it. And when I get that, just like the Florida Gator one, I never looked at that one because I was like, well, they didn't. Everybody
That one
said
was not good. The Untold.
Urban Meyer PR.
Yeah,
that was
more
not
than
good.
anything.
The Stallions one I think is.
It's a
Is
little
that
bit
a
better.
30 for 30 or Untold?
No, it's a
It's
Netflix.
a Netflix. I was told they made him to be sympathetic in there, like he was the victim of all of this to be happening, and he probably was a pawn. Definitely.
It feels like sports documentaries have gone a little downhill ever since The Last Dance.
Because there's so many of them now, too. It's
too
like
many.
everything you do. Like if you fart or something, like you have a documentary.
Oh, okay.
It's like.
Kayla, what you doing over there?
No, I'm not today.
Oh, today.
It does remind me of playing Michigan.
Keep that outside.
Is kind of like what Steve Spurrier used to say about playing Georgia.
What's that?
My favorite Steve Spurrier quote of all time, who said, I always sort of liked playing them that second game because you could always count on them having 2 or 3 key players suspended.
That man is a rascal.
I mean, it makes it more challenging when you don't know when the suspension's going to happen.
That dude. He
God, I almost got in a fight with him.
love or hate him, and most Vols fans hate him. He spit gospel at times, man. Like I'll be honest with you. One of the craziest quotes that he says, "You can't spell Gator Bowl. What is it? Which bowl?
Can't spell citrus without UT.
Without UT, and that haunts me. I'm just like, we gotta beat that one. Like if I see him, I'm pushing him down some steps.
You're gonna put his visor over his eyes.
And he said, "I know why Peyton came back for his senior year. He wanted to be a three-time star at the Citrus Bowl."
He is such a crap talker, isn't he?
And honestly, there's an
he
alternate history out there in college football where Tennessee runs his offense when he's coming out of Science Hill High School in Kingsport, Tennessee, and Johnson City, Tennessee, and he's a Tennessee Vol instead of a Florida Gator. I mean, that world is not too hard to imagine.
So he's operating from bitterness, is what you tell
I don't
me.
even know if it's that. I just think it is who he is, and regardless of where he is, he's just always gonna go after the rival.
He just got like something about him, like even you just like there's just some of that to him. He's only 80. I thought he was like 85.
But he got a good hate. That's what it is.
I mean,
for him.
he is. I'm looking at. There's a ESPN quote or ESPN article of Steve Spurrier's best quotes that was written back in 2015. I mean, he called Florida State Free Shoes University.
Oh my gosh!
Let's go.
I mean, he
That's great.
he said Jadeveon Clowney got a speeding ticket, and Spurrier said, "I didn't know his car could go that fast. He doesn't have a pretty car like those FSU guys used to drive." Like, he's just
gosh.
Wow.
he is the level of agitator that we don't have anymore in the SEC. Like Eli Drinkwitz thinks he's Steve Spurrier. Eli Drinkwitz does not have the trophy case of Steve Spurrier. Like SEC Media Days used to mean something when the old ball coach would step up to the podium. Now it's not as good as it used to be.
And to be quite honest, Lane wants it, but Lane honestly is doing a whole lot of like PR cleanup right now.
Lane's
too.
getting a makeover, man. Literally.
I read an article this weekend where he's talking about the best stadium in the SEC, and it's a little troll in it, but he named Neyland. Like,
He said it was Tennessee.
yeah, he
is
said,
kissing some butt.
I don't know why.
He's
Although I
what?
will
You
say,
wonder.
I think he's just domesticated.
Doug Matthews, who's a close cousin of us here at the station, said this weekend, he said, if stuff goes sideways in Oklahoma, he said, Oklahoma's going to call Josh Heupel.
Wow.
And that was a fascinating take from him this past weekend. Now,
I missed that.
It depends upon, how it goes, but if Lane would spin the block, I know a lot of Vols fans would absolutely love that
to have
idea.
him.
To have Lane Kiffin back?
Fans.
Wouldn't that be wild 30
I
for
ain't
30?
saying Danny White.
I'm good.
I didn't say Danny White now.
I'm good.
I said the fans would love him spinning the
I
block.
don't want to live in that world. Not again.
That would be wild.
I'm good.
What's his ceiling at Mississippi?
Good question.
I think their ceiling is a Final Four team.
Do you? You
I don't
gave
think
a little bit
they're-
more credit than me.
Yeah, I think considering the resources they have in NIL there now, Ole Miss is not what it was 20 years ago.
For sure.
And Hugh Freeze helped elevate that program too.
Yes, he
I mean,
did.
albeit he left them in trouble, but Ole Miss football has higher expectations than they used to. No doubt.
100%.
615-737-1045. The number will catch you up on headlines of the morning when we come back. Tennessee missing out on a wide receiver target in football. NFL news as well. Lots we can catch up on with you coming up next.
It's Ramon Foss for Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Good people. They have been here and in business, man, since 1990. They're family owned and operated, too. Jimmy Hiller was recently named amongst one of the most admired CEOs because of the way he truly cares for his team and his clients. I myself am my client. And I promise you this, man, Hiller takes care of the customer on every single job, every single time, and they stand by the work so much so that their motto is happy you'll be or the service is free. They absolutely mean that. There's been times where something has happened and they come right back to my house and snap, it's done. No questions, nothing asked whatsoever, man. But they always send a professional, experienced, trustworthy technicians to come into your house and leave it better and cleaner than they found it. Cool thing, too, they offer true transparency pricing. What this means is this: Hiller will line item every part of the job up front. Some homeowners can easily understand what they're paying for and the why. No hidden fees, no added costs, no surprises when you get your bill. If you want to book with a company that's very trustworthy, and I trust them too, man, simply visit happyhiller.com.
Good Monday morning. It's 9:01 from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. Rookie minicamps are getting started this week in the NFL. The Ravens, Chiefs, Eagles, Packers, Cowboys, and Seahawks all got started over this past weekend, and most of the rest of the NFL, including the Titans, will get started this Friday, May 9th. Nashville SC and Atlanta United resulted in a 1-1 draw Saturday afternoon in Atlanta. Defenseman Dan Lovett scored the equalizer and saved a point for Nashville in the 66th minute via Hani Mukhtar's assist via a corner kick. Nashville SC moves to 5-2-4 on the season with 17 points, and they sit currently 6th in the Eastern Conference. Tennessee baseball lost their third straight SC Series loss this weekend to number 10 ranked Auburn. It is Tennessee's fourth series loss in the past 5, and the first time it's lost 3 home series in a season under coach Tony Vitello. In a rain-soaked and often delayed series, Tennessee lost 6-1 in Game 1, won 5-4 in Game 2, though, but lost 8-1 in Game 3. Tennessee now will host Indiana State tomorrow afternoon at 5 p.m. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you have to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
RKW brewed by Scooters Coffee on 104.5 The Zone. Visit a locally owned Scooters location near you in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast, and we have amazingly quickly transitioned to hour number 4 on this Monday.
Ooh.
Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, and Will Bowling. Justin Hawkins, our producer. Coming up in 20 minutes, hello, we will do the Monday roast, roasting people in sports and in our lives from over the weekend. Tennessee football losing out on another wide receiver target over the weekend as receiver Jonathan Brady chooses Indiana. Played with Cal in 2024. Brady racked up 386 yards and 3 touchdowns on 36 receptions. 5'10 receiver who is third on his team in receptions. Would have been another addition to Tennessee's wide receiver room. Brady was on campus. Has actually caught passes from Diego Pavia when the two were at New Mexico State together. Had 934 yards and 7 touchdowns in 2 seasons with the Aggies. Choosing Kurt Cignetti's Hoosiers over Tennessee. Ramon, how worried are you about Tennessee's wide receiver group in depth?
The group, not a lot. The depth, yeah, I'm knocking on the door to try to figure out what's what. I do think they have a better talent group right now than they have in years past. Guys that actually have stars, guys that have actually grown up into this offense, guys I saw in the spring game and in the other practice I was able to see make plays, and you can see why they were heralded as they were at the time. Braylon Stanley being one of those guys, Mike Matthews being one of those dudes, also Radarius Jackson. Also, potentially being one of those guys moving forward. The issue that you have is a little bit of the experience and also just who's behind them if those guys aren't on their job that day. What I will say this is that I think the incorporation of the tight ends this year will help supplement that better than it has in years past. That's where I feel like where you don't have the depth at wide receiver, you can make up for it at tight end. And this is also, to me, where I feel like Heupel and his offense can expand a little bit more, add a wrinkle to it to where, hey, you weren't probably thinking of using the tight ends more with Nico. Now you're kind of forced because, again, you don't have the playmakers that you thought and what you would have been able to get guys out of the portal more of. So the numbers will. And Kayla is kind of a little bit problematic to me, but the quality is there. I like the quality more than anything.
What, in terms of that room, because we always talk about, the Titans and what receiver needs to kind of lead the way, and they've added a Tyler Lockett in terms of the leadership too. With the expectations in that room, who has the most now?
Mike Matthews.
Oh, I'd say Chris Brazzell.
I was going to say, is it Brazzell or Matthew? Because
I think it's definitely Chris Brazzell. I mean, he's won you the Alabama game already. He's made some big catches with the expectation that he had coming in last year out of Tulane. I mean, I think you could see a Dante Thornton kind of jump from Chris Brazzell his second year in the offense versus the first year kind of getting acclimated to what it required of him last year.
Only reason I bring up Matthews is this. I'm not sure, but I think he renegotiated or at least had a conversation about potentially hopping in. And when you do that, you got to answer the call. And not just that for him. Whether he stays at Tennessee after this year or goes into the portal, he needs a year that shows that, look, I'm a 5-star now. I am for a reason. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why, to me, I feel like he has the most approved going into that group or the biggest set of eyes on him. But I agree with you. I think Brazel for sure can be that guy.
And he had to kind of I was reading a really good article with VolQuest. If you don't have a subscription, go check out VolQuest about his headspace and like the mental side of
Matthews,
it. Of having,
that is?
Brazel.
Brazel, okay,
of having to kind of flush things sooner, because he stayed on certain things in terms of mistakes last year. If there was something, he couldn't just flush it, and that's a big part of having to grow up in that.
I'll be honest with you, because you're so scrutinized in those team meetings. The plays that you are supposed to make, if you don't make them, you might not get them for another quarter
now
or two.
Now a new quarterback?
Yeah, and now with a quarterback trying to figure that out, like it is. That's one of the biggest things that I love about college, though, also, is the fact that you can grow and groom your mind and mature yourself a whole lot more so that you're more prepared for, your junior year or first year in the NFL, because nothing's ever going to be perfect. And when you're in high school and you're the man, I don't care what star they are on any college football team. Every person was the man at their school, and you never had much failure.
Yeah, I think Braylon Staley is the one that people are not giving enough attention.
Yeah.
I think Braylon Staley is going to have to play a pretty big role. I think he's ready for it. And I just always tend to expect more from guys like that who have already been on the roster under Josh Heupel than I do true freshmen. Like, I want to believe that Travis Smith and Rodarius Jackson could have really big impacts this season. But until a freshman wide receiver walks in and lights it up as true freshman, I'll believe it when I see it.
For sure. I'll tell you one true freshman, they probably will. Two. Rodarius Jackson and Jack Van Doorslayer.
You've said his name a couple times.
He's more college ready than Deshaun Brame is, Van Doorslayer. Brame has the higher ceiling as a prospect. But, I mean, Brame was a punt returner. He was so small last year and agile and athletic. Van Doorslayer can block and can catch.
Yeah, he can.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that group. And also throw in Ethan Davis, too.
Right.
615-737-1045. Gil in California on the phone with us, wanting to talk about the Titans this morning. What's up, Gil?
Hey, what's going on, y'all?
Not much. Good morning, Gil.
Good morning, man. My Lakers is done, so I'm 24/7 Titans now.
Right there with you.
Look at Will. Will's right there with you. It's a Dalton Connect. Is he being received well out there?
Oh man, it's just crazy, man. We got to take it as it is. We'll get a big man next year. Lakers always find a way.
All right, for sure.
Yeah, we will.
All right, but what I was wondering is how y'all think about Callahan and his play calling. Do you think he's gonna be ready for Cam Ward this year? Because last year it was like we couldn't even get the ball off. Like as far as hiking it almost got down to 0, and our offensive play calling was horrible. And I just was hoping that this year, with a new offensive line and they got everything they need, that it'll change. But how do y'all feel about Callahan going forward with a rookie quarterback?
That's
Appreciate it, Gil. I think it's going to look a lot different because Brian Callahan, anytime he's talked recently, has talked about how with Cam Ward, they want to do what they did in Cincinnati with Joe Burrow and bring concepts that worked for Joe at LSU to Cincinnati. I think they're going to bring a lot of the things that worked for Cam at Miami here to Tennessee.
Yeah, and he has a year in the basket, Gil, when it comes to balancing being a play caller, being a head coach. He had some moments where, he screwed up in certain situations, penalties. You saw some of those in terms of not making calls quickly or, whatever it might have been. There were situations where he had to learn from him. And I think he knows that as a head coach, like his leash is not long. No one's leash is long when you're a new head coach. So I think he probably took it upon himself to fix a lot of those things. Now we have to actually see it done.
I guess the biggest question for me is how much grace are you willing to give Brian Callahan?
Yeah.
I think that's the bigger topic more than anything, Gil, because it's this for me. You got to realize he's with a rookie quarterback with a lot of new moving parts around him, with a new offensive line basically also, and trying to figure out how his running backs, tight ends, and everybody else is going to work. And then it's always I think the first quarter of the season, we probably shouldn't judge it by a whole lot. Just on the basis of, all right, if when Cam Ward starts, First game, then how does he adjust? Does he have a lot of negative or do we have a lot of positive? And that can play a big-time role in how Callahan calls the game, too. And also the defensive side of it, it's a bigger question for me on the full management of the team for Brian Callahan than it is the playmaking of it, because he's responsible technically for the defense, too.
Yeah.
Gil mentions that play calling was a big problem for the Titans last year. Do you agree with that?
No,
I think at times when they went off script.
I think the play was a bad issue for Callahan more than the play calling.
To me, it's long down the list of problems this team had last year.
I don't think it was like number 1 or 2 or 3. But I think like when they did go off script, you saw more problems, obviously. And again, a lot of that is he's coming together trying to figure things out with I don't want to say crappy group, but with a less talented group with a lot of one-year players that were
with an unstable quarterback.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a play caller in professional football that was getting a lot out of that offensive line last year.
And that's
I think they feel the same way, considering the investment they have already made to bring in new competition on that offensive line. I just don't think Brian Callahan had much to work with.
No, I agree with you on that one, man. And again, I will say you need to have the ability to be fluid throughout the course of your play calling. But again, when you got a rookie left tackle, you got a new offensive line as it was last year, and trying to figure out how you use Tajay, how do you use Tony, and then when your wide receivers, the connection wasn't made with the quarterback, that does make the play calling a little bit more problematic. All right, we can speak about the X's and O's all day long, but the Jimmy and Joes matter, and they matter a whole lot more than I think we make it.
I think we can be critical of the way they started the season, and I think the way they kind of asked Will Levis to do a lot of difficult things and air it out a little bit at times, even with leads. But I think that's tricky because Will Levis started making mistakes in games that he wasn't making in practice.
Yeah.
And for a first-year head coach in Brian Callahan, who got out on the field, you could see in the way he interacted with Levis on the field last year, just the look of confusion of dude, what are you doing?
It was the wiring
where did that
thing.
come from? When the lights came on, the worst in Will Levis came out.
Exactly.
Unfortunately for everyone in Titans uniforms last year.
I also think with Callie too, not getting better at any point towards the end of the season, because you saw that one little brief with Rudolph, and then it just trailed off again.
Yeah.
You know,
one of the worst reason I'm laughing. One of the worst cussings I've ever had from a coach. Was post a play, and he was like, I've never even seen this bleep, 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 bleep during practice. Where did you learn this from? We don't teach this here. It was, to your point about, he was doing stuff in games that he never done in practice. Mess up in practice.
Yep.
Don't get new when it comes to the game. God, you ever want to tick a coach off? Do something you've never done before.
Was that opposite with our guy Josh Dobbs, by the way? He was not good in practice.
I think Dobbs was probably their only best option.
In college.
Yeah.
In college, he was not as good of a practice player, and then when the lights came on, he was
good.
Fantastic.
But I'm sure you saw the DNA of what he was going to be capable of. Don't hit your knees and throw the ball.
Yeah. Interesting.
Coming up, your chance to roast anyone in your life, in sports, in the intersection of both. The Monday Roast is next.
It's Ramon Foster for the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Good people, I'm telling you, they have a deal right now that is one of the best that can make your life and health and well-being so much better. It is their 47% off non-surgical spinal decompression. The big 47 offer, man, for 2025. Hear me out, y'all. Dr. Mitchell and Dr. Ashley will not give up on you when it comes to your back and knee pain. Dr. Mitchell and Dr. Ashley are in the trenches fighting for you the same way I was in the trenches fighting for my quarterbacks and my team, man. Hear me out. This is one of the best facilities, and I do mean facilities around when it comes to helping their clients get better. They have the state-of-the-art spinal decompression machines, to even the zero-gravity machines, too. And I know what you're probably thinking, well, Ramon, I can't fit in there. Well, I fit in there, and if I can fit in there, you can, too. They will find the best strategy to get you back better. And I know you guys are feeling it. Man, that pain down down your back, down your legs, your neck may be a little agitated. Trust me, they can help you get better. Their facility is one of the best around, and their doctors, Dr. Mitchell and Dr. Ashley, are the best around. So start off the rest of this year, man, with a pain-free life, and it is possible. Call today, the Wellness Institute of Nashville. You can reach them at 615-246-5009 or go to painisbad.com.
All right, just a reminder, everyone, Mother's Day coming up this Sunday, May 11th, and maybe you haven't gotten a gift yet. I've got a great idea for you, and it's going to earn you some bonus points in the family when it comes to being the best gift giver. No, it's not flowers. It's not chocolates, none of those things. It's Aura Frames. They are one of the best in the business. Aura Frames named the best digital photo frame by Wirecutter. Easy to see why. There's unlimited storage. You can add a ton of photos, videos, whatever you want, and mom's going to love it. They've got a great deals for Mother's Day going on for a limited time. Listeners can save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com. They're going to get $35 plus off that shipping on the best-selling Carver matte frame. All you got to do, go to auraframes.com, type in promo code ZONE, ZONE. Terms and conditions apply.
Monday morning at RKW, fueled by Scooters Coffee. Visit a locally owned Scooters in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. It is time to complain about someone in your life, someone in sports, someone in your morning who's already made you mad today to start your Monday. It is time for the Monday Roast.
Mm-hmm.
615-737-1045. Who in sports deserves to be roasted? Let's let Justin Hawkins, Jayhawk, bat the lead off this morning.
Let's go.
Okay, I got a couple for you guys. All right, let's start off. I don't know if so Ramon, you were out on Thursday.
Yeah.
So something happened at the end of the show that was kind of funny. So I had to cut it up, and I wanted to kind of show you what happened. So we were talking about the Utah Hockey Club.
Oh, no.
And their little gaffe that they had
put
on
this
YouTube.
on here, too?
I am. So, let me just play it for you, and then we'll go from there.
Here we go. Oh.
Oh,
momentarily.
hold on.
Don't get it back.
Monday
now.
Roast Justin.
Boom.
For that.
Yeah, just go ahead.
What that will be. Like, what will be.
Like, what's a mammoth?
Well, I mean, I know what a
animal?
mammoth is. It's like an old, what do we call it?
It's like a hippo kind of situation. Like a big
what's
tusk.
the connection just with Utah
prehistoric
being
animal.
like, it was like maybe something they dug up, like
I would say
artifacts
more
over
in
the years?
elephant family.
It was really okay.
Yeah. Any species of an extinct.
Not a mammoth expert.
Okay, so a mammoth is not a hippo.
Okay, it's not that far away from it. It's a large four-legged creature.
I mean, but it's got a
Right?
trunk, and
got a
hippos do not
dunk-a-dunk.
have trunk.
Okay.
And if you watch Ice Age, Manny the mammoth is 100% looking like an elephant. So just for the conversation,
It's a big slob.
Boom, roasted.
okay.
But
So
they did it. They roasted us on Buck Show, I guess.
And I called in defended my name.
I thought that was hilarious.
Hey, we say a lot of words out here, okay? You just never know what's going to come out at times.
I was picturing it, but the first thing I
too.
could picture was just like the big
Woolly
four-legged creature.
mammoth.
Yeah, like a big blob.
Literally
mammoth.
Thursday, I was dying, and I immediately cut it up, showed it to Bert, and I guess he played it.
He did.
After that. Okay, so I do have another one. So
Roast his own teammates.
yeah. So over the weekend, I think it was Boston and Minnesota in baseball, and there was a call that umpire Bill Miller made at the home plate that he called safe when it was clearly out. So he really just he had a hot mic moment.
After review, the call on the field is overturned. The runner is out. Minnesota retains.
So it is 6-1 as the call is overturned at the end of 8. Red Sox ahead 6-1.
Saw that too.
Oh,
We going
So
off.
he
couple times.
he saw the call, right? And he made the call safe, and he knew it. He saw in his own eyes that it was going to be out. I mean, and if you look at the replay, like he was clearly out. It was at least 6 inches away from the plate when the catcher tagged him. So Bill Miller is on my roast this week.
Boom, roasted.
Bill Miller. All right.
dang, Bill Miller.
Tough.
In a moment.
Bad week for umpires. That all you got? That it?
Yes, those two.
Lovely. I'll go next. I want to roast Phil Mickelson, who this past golf season sent out a tweet that said, here's a hot take. Does Scotty Scheffler win in 2025 before the Ryder Cup? I don't think so. Well, not only over the weekend did Scotty Scheffler win, he closed with a 63 to finish 31 under par, tying the mark set by Justin Thomas at the 2017 Sony Open and equaled 6 years later by Ludwig Oberg at the RSM Classic, literally the best 72-hole score in the history of the PGA Tour, matching it, finishing at 253, an 8-shot victory at his hometown CJ Cup, Byron Nelson. Not only did he win, Phil, he won with literally the best weekend in the history of the tour. Phil Mickelson, roasted.
Boom, roasted.
I would also like to roast umpires and officials as well. Did you guys see this from Front Office Sports over the weekend? So LASIK, I believe it's just LASIK.com,
Yeah.
offers umps free LASIK.
You're
so
kidding.
every time, I don't know if you guys have seen this, clearly not, on Twitter, an umpire makes a really bad call, including probably Bill Miller. LASIK.com will tweet at them and have literally offered free LASIK. Well, a story from Front Office Sports came out over the weekend. 10 refs have taken them up on it. Literally. There are 10 officials out there. LASIK.com not telling people who it is, but like this is a $5,000 procedure if you're doing both eyes. And apparently, according to this this story, the troll has turned out to be a literal, real thing. So 10 officials, maybe I should be roasting everyone but them, have taken them up on it. If you watched any college baseball over the weekend, whether that was at LSU and Texas A&M, whether that was Tennessee and Auburn, which was just awful. One of some of the worst decisions I've ever seen. I think they could also use LASIK.com. So officials not taking LASIK.com up on it. Roasted.
Boom. Roasted.
I think so, too.
Go.
I'd be the first one to say, give me that.
Absolutely.
For free?
I tried to get it. I couldn't get it. My cornea was too thin.
That's take off your sunglasses and get LASIK to a whole nother level.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Ramon, why don't you go next?
Man, here we go. Y'all know this past week has been hilarious with this 100 men versus the gorilla. Okay?
Do you want me to explain the context behind
that?
it?
Yeah, go ahead.
So if you missed it, on Twitter, there was basically a person that claimed that 100 men could win in a fight against one gorilla.
Yeah.
And the internet has taken this and, as the internet does, totally run with it.
Well, there's a country with a man in it that's taking it a step further, okay? In Russia. There's this one particular guy in this neighborhood or this town or city, wherever they are, it is snow everywhere on the ground. Somehow a polar bear has navigated into the town.
Oh.
What?
There's this one particular guy that hops out and tried to, with a gun in hand, remember this part, gun in hand to try to defend it, to move the polar bear away from the town, I think. There's no real context by it. It's just a video out there. In this video, all right, and the only reason I bring this up against the gorilla is this, all right, there is one group or one or two animals in the animal kingdom that will actively, or if they're in front of them, present themselves with human flesh. Yeah. And it is the polar bear and it is the tiger.
Oh, I'm looking at the video right now.
You see it.
That's crazy.
In this guy goes at and try to get big against this polar bear. Here's the thing about polar bears. Their food is very scarce. Anything moving with warm blood in it, they will attack, allegedly. Okay, it's probably a pet expert that will come up here and tell me that's not true, Ramon. But from my understanding is, if you breathe and you walk, they will eat you because they live in cold climates. Food is scarce. This guy goes at it. I think he shot once trying to scare the polar bear. Polar bear don't give a damn about a gunshot, okay? The polar bear in return chases the guy. Guess what the guy with the gun does? Drops the gun.
What?
He drops the gun because he knows this polar bear will eat the heck out of him. Hops on his jet ski, snowmobile. Hops on his snowmobile and just hauls butt behind off. And I'm just like, one, they don't get tired like that, okay? You better hope you got plenty of fuel in this snowmobile. Guy, for the dude that had the gun, you are a human and a snowmobile, and you ran away, boom. Roasted.
Boom. Roasted.
Idiot.
Yeah, I saw the video. I think this is an old video, but it still holds up. It's still pretty wild.
That's wild.
People in human nature, stop. Let them go inside to the leaves, okay? Shoot it from up top. My other one, I got another one, man. Goes to UT Junior, Texas, all right? Players get arrested all the time. I mean, does it bother you as much as long as it's not egregious speeding? I know we rag on Georgia all the time.
Depends on the case.
Yeah, you're right. Depends on the case.
Depends on the facts.
Speeding is one of those situations. Well, Texas freshman offensive lineman Nick Brooks was arrested this past Sunday in Austin, Texas, for driving intoxicated and told the officers, this is also another thing, too, when you're guilty, shut up. Don't say a word. Shut up, okay?
I learned that.
He was coming from a 21 and up club on West 6th that he said makes exception for UT football players.
For Tennessee players in Austin?
For Texas.
Tennessee players get
UT Junior is what I should have said. I'm just quoting what he said.
They should have made UTU players, too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Look, if that was right, he wouldn't have got stopped.
He told the officer this?
Yeah, Kayla, blowing the whole spot up. Bro, you snitching on everybody's hot spot. It was recruits that he had with him also. bro, you're blowing the spot. Now they can never go to the bar that he mentioned again, okay? But according to the affidavit, he was going 47 and a 30. Not bad, to be quite honest with you. But I guess he was so gone out of his mind.
Being intoxicated pretty bad.
Yeah, that's the part that's the problem.
Yeah, but he also goes on and said he had 2 prospects with him he was trying to hit the strip club next with. Bro, shut up,
Oh,
okay?
my gosh.
Not just that. Brooks, again, young, dumb, and just too much money probably in his hands. He goes on to admitting to smoking a marijuana vape pen and a blunt before getting behind the wheel.
Good.
Bro, police found the gold vape pen with the marijuana in it, and Brooks also told him, man, I was feeling it.
What
Yeah,
the?
you're damn right you was feeling it. Shut up. You're blowing our spot up, young Brooks. What are you doing? He failed a sobriety test, man. His body had tremors is what they were saying, and couldn't stand on one leg as a 4-star athlete as a freshman and 18-year-old.
And again, where is the Uber?
So
why
when does
why are
he-
we driving?
When does he transfer to Georgia? Then? When does he hit the portal?
Like,
does Kirby Smart
what?
call him now? Does he wait? Does it the paperwork?
We've all been there. Take a page out of some people that's been locked up. Hey, shut up and say nothing, my brother.
I don't know if we've all been there.
No, we ain't all been
God, I
there.
hope not that bad.
You're right. We've seen this situation before. But Nick Brooks,
We?
I ain't know you speak French, my brother. But he blew the spot. Told him that they accept 21 and up, and they make exceptions.
That's tough.
He had the weed pen. Admitted that he was feeling it after smoking a blunt and a vape pen. You don't need to get that high at 18. What are we doing?
We're
Needs to play some
Nick
football
Brooks.
first.
You are not that guy this week, man.
Man.
Boom, roasted.
Kayla, what you got?
So I got 2. So my first one, we go to the NHL, where we've got the Stanley Cup playoffs going on. And game 7 between Winnipeg
locked in.
and St. Louis. Winnipeg, by those who might not follow hockey, they've been the favorites pretty much all year. They've played some really good hockey. So St. Louis had a heck of a series and it was tied up going into game 7 last night. And this was crazy. So the Achilles heel for St. Louis has been 6-on-5 this year, okay? And we're giving a new meaning to blues for their fans right now after this, because not only did they give up with 1:56 remaining a goal, the Blues did on a 5-on-6,
Yep.
with 2.2 seconds left to go in game 7, and they had it in their hands. They give up another 6-on-5 goal with 2.2. They go into double overtime. At that point, your will's gone. And the Winnipeg Jets win the series,
Double
and St.
overtime.
Louis goes bye-bye because they can't handle 6-on-5 with the last 2 minutes to go in the game.
Boom, roasted.
It was crazy. Yeah, 3-1 with 1:56 left. And yeah, I mean, literally 1 second on the clock. I think it was 1.7.
Wow.
To be exact.
Crazy, right? Can you imagine that feeling like you had it in your hands and then it just all went to the wayside?
That's
By the way, 3 Canadian teams, first time since they've had at least 3 since 2004 in the NHL playoffs. We got the Oilers, the Jets, and the Maple Leafs.
I was glad for Connor Hellebuck that he got his get back on Jordan Binnington, because this was the same matchup as the U.S.-Canada Four Nations final.
Yep.
Where Binnington was just unbelievable for Canada, when a lot of those Canadian fans thought he was the weak link of the whole team. And Hellebuck wasn't as good in the championship game for the United States. And then now Hellebuck gets him back, and Binnington and the Blues just absolutely choked.
Yeah.
Absolutely choked, yeah. St. Louis sports fans have it pretty tough. They are some of the most
I know.
long-suffering
They
sports
truly do.
fans. I mean, they got the Stanley Cup a few years ago, I guess, but...
The Blues. A new meaning to the Blues.
That was a very bless your heart comment from you, right?
Yeah.
He was just like,
yeah, they got the Stanley
And they
Cup.
lost their football
I'd
team.
love a Stanley Cup. Heck, I'd settle for just being on the playoffs.
That's true.
Yeah.
100%.
So that was my first one. The
So I
other
can't say
one,
anything.
we'll do playoffs in the NBA. This was between the Indiana Pacers and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Of course, we're talking about the Eastern Conference semifinals, game 1. I don't know if y'all watched this on TNT by any chance, but game 1 of the broadcast, we got Spiro Dides, obviously, and Greg Anthony doing the play-by-play in color. And fans were in shock last night because they didn't know what was going on. It sounds like Greg Anthony is underwater.
Into the corner. This is Medlin. Big shot for the Pacers.
That was huge. They, right now, the Pacers are reeling on their heels offensively and really no impact defensively. They have not done a good job of containing the paint here.
So you can tell the minute from Spiridides to Greg Anthony's voice, it's almost like it plummets. I guess this was going over under the whole entire game. It was on the streaming platform and the TV broadcast. Fans did not know what was going on. They're like, was he calling in from a payphone? Like, what is going on? But it was a thing, and I don't know. Whoever it was, though, it wasn't his fault. So production for the TNT last night broadcast, boom, you're roasted.
Boom, roasted.
Sounds like we're going back to 2020s and doing a Zoom.
I know.
I will also add to the fact, ESPN, if y'all going to charge us for that app, if y'all going to put us in a position to where we have to, like, watch it on different networks or off our streaming platforms, provide the games. I couldn't finish or I couldn't find the Tennessee-Auburn 2 o'clock. Where they finished that, or the game 3 either, which I really need to see it. I want to see Tony V go off. But I could not. It wasn't anywhere on my app, is what I was saying.
Yeah, that's not good.
Or SEC Network. So, boom, roasted for y'all.
What device for you?
Huh?
What device for you?
I was on the TV on the ESPN app.
Really?
Yeah.
It worked for me yesterday.
I scrolled and scrolled. Tennessee-Auburn didn't show up anywhere.
What game was it? Was it yesterday's game?
It was yesterday's game.
Okay.
Both of them.
You using
Both of them.
ESPN Plus?
I have Plus.
Because
I got the app.
ESPN Plus, they only allow certain select ESPN games to be
I
broadcast.
pay for the Vols. I need to see the Vols, damn it.
No, yeah, this
You
is
play for the Vols,
different. This
yeah.
is like everything.
Yeah, I actually
available
have the Disney account for ESPN, Disney, and who is it, Hulu. So it should have been there, the
I
ESPN
think
Watch.
out of all the apps, that is one of the more bad ones.
Yeah.
Paramount Plus is my favorite.
Paramount Plus is?
Mhm.
Yeah, I appreciate your efforts on that one, Will.
Oh, are you using my password?
I think so.
That's news to me.
When we went to London.
Maybe that's why you
logged
didn't
in.
see
We do it.
anything.
Yeah. You and Jackson Schaefer are both using it because he'll text me
Roasted.
after Tottenham loses and he'll be like, "Oh, thanks
It
for letting
lets
me
you do
use
that?
your password." And I was like,
Wow.
But until recently, I did log out. I have my own now, though. Just being real with you.
Lovely.
But I was using
That's
it up until like
hilarious.
about a month or two ago.
I
"You
remember
can
when
use
that happened.
you can have 2 people watching live at once.
I don't hardly use it as much, but I end up getting it for one particular
You got to
reason.
watch it for Mobland."
Well, that's
I haven't watched last night's yet. I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I chose The Last of Us last night, and then I'll do Mobland tonight.
I got-
Usually Mobland is my Monday tradition.
Euphoria's the other one? Is that what
Euphoria's
Baby
on
Billy is?
Max.
And
It's
that's
on
an
Max,
old
yeah.
one.
That's
You can
Zendaya
watch
and
that
Sydney
now.
Sweeney.
Who's the
A lot of promiscuous teenagers in Euphoria
that's
who
a
just don't have parents that are
Very
around.
interesting, dark,
I've never watched that one.
dark show.
Yeah.
Yeah, see,
though.
Jim is saying the exact same thing. He's like, he couldn't find it anywhere. I
That's
thought
weird.
I was tripping.
It was working for me.
Yeah, I
I
looked
watched
on
the whole game.
iPad
Both
and
of
all.
them.
Will
The
nothing
loss and the
popped
win.
up.
That's bizarre.
Yeah, nothing popped up, my brother.
615-737-1045. Your chance to roast anyone in sports. You can join us on the phone lines. Our last call for phone calls as we'll get you out of here next. RKW wrapping up the show on 104.5 The Zone. We are fueled by Scooters Coffee. Get a little Monday pick-me-up from our friends at a locally owned location near you in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. 615-737-1045. The final call for phone calls. A lot of Game 7s yesterday. Yeah. Basketball and hockey, Jets, Blues. Excellent, like Kayla mentioned.
Yeah.
It's a good sports weekend.
It really was.
Steph got over that hump yesterday, too.
Yeah.
Him and Jimmy Butler, man, made it happen. I was listening this morning a little bit to Chris Canny. They was talking about just how they pulled it off. Steph was plus 18 points when on the court. The series numbers were tied as far as either side playing. Like, let's say it was 252 points to 252 points. But Steph being on the court was plus 18 for the Warriors in that moment.
I've got an issue with that series. Why are we wearing City Connect jerseys in a Game 7?
Are you right?
We used to be a proper country that in a Game 7, in a championship game, in like a big rivalry game, we wore normal uniforms.
Yep.
Yeah.
Normal uniforms.
I'm with you.
I don't know about that either.
City Connect jerseys in a Game 7, the game's gone.
Right.
We've lost it. Game's gone.
They're trying to do everything they can to keep it. I mean, keep the eyes on it. It was some good ball going on, though. I must say, watching that Denver and Clippers game, though, Denver absolutely bodied them.
It's classic Clippers.
Yes.
Get all the way there and then
become
fade.
irrelevant.
And then, of course, the conversation of, it being Kawhi. Can Kawhi make it happen again? And I hate to say this because we live in a city that's trying to get over that hump with the national football team with the Titans. But, it sucks to have a team that just can't find the finish line time and time again, no matter who you go get and what they mean to the organization, how healthy they are. And I think the Clippers are going through that, too. They got Joker was all over. There was nothing they could do. Absolutely nothing they could do. I think they ended up beating them by almost 30 points. Had them by 40 at one point in time in the game. Silly. But New York versus Boston tonight, though? Whew. I will say, and I continue to say this, if you don't like watching the association during the regular season, now is the time to do it. Jalen Brunson is one of those types of dudes.
Yeah, give me your pitch. Why should I tune in tonight?
Because they actually play defense. They actually run offenses. Your premier players show up and play all the time in these games. This isn't, hey, you will see threes being shot because that's just the game right now.
This is Knicks?
But Knicks and Boston.
Knicks and Celtics?
Yes.
Is this game one?
And Tatum is on a
new
tear.
series?
Yes. Tatum is on a tear right now, too. Considering he didn't get MVP last time, and I heard it be said this morning, too, this was probably one of the most disrespectful championship rallies or championship coverages that any team has ever had for Boston. So you should want to watch this one.
Okay.
And
Boston,
not
an
just
8.5-point favorite.
Yeah, man, Karl Anthony Towns, they're like your stars will show. But watching Jaylen Brown and Tatum against them tonight,
YouTube comment in the F and Bing chat says the Cavs wore those sleeved unis when they won the title in 2016. Yeah, I didn't like those either. That was a tough era for Adidas. When Adidas had the sleeved jerseys.
Yeah.
LeBron had to rip the sleeves just to wear it.
I'm so glad Tennessee's a Nike school.
And Cleveland's on notice, too. By the way, Cavs. The Pacers smacked them.
Pacers are
121 to 112.
They are good, but as much and as hard as Cleveland was rolling, they weren't supposed to get beat like that.
No, not like
was
that.
64 and 18
like that.
in the regular season.
Cleveland's got a good team.
I love. Shout out Darius Garland.
My old classmate, Darius Garland.
Love Darius
I never had
Garland.
class with him, but we roamed the same halls at the same time.
Yeah.
And his family is here.
The association will have a good matchup moving forward in the playoffs, is what I would tell. OKC, if you're a fan of New Breed, SGA.
Dude, they are
nice. Good. They got a squad. They're still eating from that Paul George trade. That was trending the social media on this weekend, too.
I think I'll be a Cavs fan. I want Darius to get a ring.
Me too. I'm with you, Will.
Cavs all the way through.
I'm a Cavs fan. This time.
Darius helped my graduating class in high school get a state championship to celebrate when he was a freshman. And we were on our way out as seniors. So, yeah, he was the best. That game against Christian Brothers he had his freshman year, oh, my God.
He's got a toe injury right now.
He does. By the way, the whistle, the refs, not calling as much. That first half of that Denver and Clippers game, they evened it out. But, as far as, getting smacked around, pushed to the ground, no.
Yeah. Who's the guy who they bring in to force a Game 7 of the NBA, the official?
I'm not
Scott Foster.
Sure. Scott. You idiot.
That's the guy they bring in when When Adam Silver needs a series to go to 7 for television purposes, they're bringing old Scott out of the bullpen.
I'm telling you.
I was just locked in on the Braves getting the win over the Dodgers last night. They finally beat the Dodgers in their 6th try.
Was it packed?
I mean, the game I was at or the game last night?
Considering the weather, either way.
The game, it was packed. There were a lot of Dodgers fans around me. You could tell from the people that were loudly exclaiming they don't know baseball.
You told me about this. How was it going?
I was this close to turning around and looking at a guy and saying, "When did you start watching baseball?" But I resisted. Yeah, I resisted. This guy, the Dodgers, and Yamamoto had a no-hitter going into the 6th against the Braves when I was there on Friday, and this guy is hitting his buddy. He's like, "Oh, we got a no-hitter going. We got a no-hitter. And the Braves got the first hit, and I go, "Oh, no-hitter, all right, no-hitter, good job, no-hitter." Yeah. And I don't know, I don't believe in jinxes, but also, come on, we got to do our part.
Yeah, seriously. We have a comment asking when are they going to announce undrafted free agents. NFL.com has them up already, too, if you are.
I think when the Titans will officially announce it this week before rookie minicamp.
Rookies come in Thursday.
Okay, for sure.
I imagine, too, for the Titans being number 1 in the waiver order, you want to wait a little bit longer to do that until you know for sure who is joining your roster in the waiver process, because you have the first pick on all those guys as the team with the first pick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. I'm looking forward to NBA, though, as we get down to the middle of sports and we get coverage starting this weekend.
You made me a little interested.
I'm telling you.
Oh, yeah. No, this is good ball right now.
It just doesn't entertain me, and I've explained the reasons why. There's not a local tie, and I didn't grow up with it. It's just hard for me to get into it.
Follow the names, though, this week.
No,
is what I would tell you.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, follow the names. This is SEC tournament level play. I felt not that like the association is the level, but like you're gonna see a lot of physicality.
Yeah. Need Darius to get healthy so I can cheer.
I know that toe injury is bothersome. I think too. I don't feel great about that.
Back at it tomorrow morning. Austin Price will be here. Also going to look for potentially a new series here on the show. We are in hypothetical season.
I like that.
I'm going to ask some hypothetical questions on the ripple effects on if certain things happen. We'll start in the AFC South tomorrow morning. So we'll do that tomorrow here on the show. Lucas Panzica back, which means you are even more incentivized to tune into the Buck Rising Show, which is next.
I know Ron Slay likes to call him Pan Man. I can't wait to see what he looks like coming from a warm country and call him Tan
The
Man.
Pan Man.
Because people remember at all times, your Twitter fingers and your mic is always hot.